Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I want to tell you all about my show, the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we do a thorough analysis on the biggest issues and trends within the pro wrestling industry. We talk a lot about pro wrestling media, we talk a lot about fan culture and wrestling's place within general pop culture, and we talk about the broader influences that are shaping the way we discuss and analyze the pro wrestling industry. We've had some of the brightest minds in the pro wrestling intelligentsia on the show, including WrestleNomics host Brandon Thurston, both Rich Craich and Joe Lanza from the Flagship Wrestling Podcast, Trevor Dame from the Through the Years podcast, and a whole lot more. This isn't a show for hot takes. It's not a show recapping the latest episode of television. This is a show focusing on the biggest topics in pro wrestling and doing a deep dive on the real stories behind the surface level analysis you might find elsewhere. The Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a try. Thanks.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Many, Mickey, Pishy.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
The fucking sun sucks. I don't know what you people see in the sun. I don't know how you people do the sun. It's just the dirt worst. I want nothing to do with it. I'd be content never going out in the sun again.
And Rich Craich.
It's the dumbest show. I cannot believe these people. Some people pay us $10 to listen to the show live. This is what we give them for 45 minutes.
Been doing this for 10 years. Why?
We're bigger than ever. More people listen to us than ever.
Why?
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
Well, I know what will be happening Sunday. That's Instant Reaction Live for Double or Nothing.
Absolutely, yes. Double or Nothing 2025 Instant Reaction Live coming your way this Sunday, flagshippatreon.com. So if you're listening on the free feed and you want our review instantly, right after the show, you can do so at flagshippatreon.com. So we will be previewing that show a little bit later in the show, but wanted to at least let people know out of the gates if you want to hear a review of Double or Nothing, which should be a very interesting show. We're going to talk about it in the preview. I think there's a lot of, no matter what the quality of the show is in ring, I think there's going to be enough stories that come out of it that's going to make for a very, very interesting Instant Reaction Live on Sunday. So again, that'll be on the $10 tier, flagshippatreon.com. Excited to do those, and obviously those are always the biggest hits on our Patreon. Full chat room, everyone chatting, everyone going nuts. Always a good time. So,
yeah, for sure. And a lot of Sabu content behind the paywall too, coming off of the impromptu 3-hour Sabu obituary episode from last week, which was very well received. Pretty much every piece of feedback we got claimed it was one of the best shows we've ever done. But if people want more Sabu, then they're going to want to subscribe. I think I did. I did more than 2, but I think I've posted 2 watch-alongs so far, 2 new ones with Sabu. Or is it, how many did I do? Yeah, I did.
Technically 2. I mean, I guess you watched 3 matches, but technically 2 watch-along episodes.
Featuring Sabu. And there's some more that are in the can that'll go up this weekend probably too. So, if you want more Sabu, there's going to be more Sabu coming behind the paywall as well. But yeah, get on that $10 tier for the Double or Nothing Instant Reaction Live, and you'll be covered. You'll have access to everything we do and everything we have ever done.
Absolutely. So a lot of stuff up there. A lot of good week in terms of content. A lot of written stuff. A lot of audio. Of course, you get the Flagship Live. So if you are on, there's a lot of people listening right now live on the $10 tier. But if you're not on, and you want to listen live, you can do that live, unedited. Every Thursday night, we're here for you, Flagship Live. Again, that'll be on the $10 tier as well. But yeah, let's. This week, we're going to talk about a lot of wrestling. There's a lot going on in all over the world in wrestling. We're going to cover it all here we got AEW Double or Nothing 2025 again. We're going to preview that show here in a little bit. We're going to recap and review the finals of the All Japan Champion Carnival 2025. We have a new Champion Carnival winner. We're going to preview the Dean 2 show. Dean 2 show coming up this weekend as well. OZAWA versus Kaito Kiyomiya from Noah's recent Korakuen Hall show. You've seen the whole show. I've seen the main event, so we'll talk about that show. Also, some free agent news in the world of wrestling. And real quickly, I wanted to talk about this right out of the gates, and then we can get into our Double or Nothing preview, which usually, every time we do an AEW preview, it does take up, 60 to 90 minutes or whatever, so I want to at least clear some space for that. But real quick, I wanted to get this news out, because this is a developing story and came out earlier today, and I'm interested in your thoughts on this, or if you have any thoughts, really, about this. But an exclusive earlier this afternoon from WrestleNomics that representatives from the city of New Orleans told Brandon Thurston, that WrestleMania is moving to another location for 2026, despite previously announcing New Orleans as the host city. I mean, I know you remember that segment where The Rock came out on SmackDown and talked about, he was in full-on babyface Dwayne Johnson, TKO board member mode, and talking about New Orleans, but then also turned on him halfway through it. It was very weird. But that's it's classic Dwayne in 2025, where he's really kind of grasping at straws or whatever. But they announced New Orleans. That's going to be the host of the 2026 WrestleMania. These are the dates, and ticket, if you want to get on the pre-sale list for tickets, here's how you do it, and here you go, and all that sort of stuff. So there you go. It's New Orleans is the host city. Well, earlier today they said, nah, never mind, New Orleans, you're out. And all signs are pointing to them going back to Las Vegas for the second year in a row, and telling New Orleans, hey, sorry, no more WrestleMania for you guys, but you can have Money in the Bank and a UFC show instead. So very weird story to come out here. And this is unique. I have never, there's been some things where, they'll hint towards WrestleMania being in a certain city and then it's not that city, but I have never seen them say, all right, folks, WrestleMania is going to be here at, or whatever, any show. It's going to be here at this date. Here you go. And then, basically, a little less than a year out, basically say, fuck you. No, never mind. We're going to Las Vegas again. Very weird story coming out from WWE and TKO this afternoon. But any thoughts on the move of WrestleMania back to Las Vegas, presumably?
Did they not announce it for Minneapolis last year, or was that just a rumor?
I think that was sort of what I think the Minneapolis thing was. WWE is interested in running major shows in Minneapolis, and everybody kind of assumed so. I don't know if they ever said we are running WrestleMania in Minneapolis, but that is a good point. They did sort of strongly hint at Minnesota or Minneapolis.
Weren't there comments from a Minneapolis politician that they had the rug pulled out from under them or something?
I think something similar.
They were diplomatic comments. I think the person was more like, well, it didn't work out this time, but we hope to do business with them next time. But it's sure, I don't think it's the same as this situation where it was wasn't this announced?
Oh yeah, The Rock came out and said, everybody, WrestleMania 42 is going to take place April. That gave you the dates and had everything out there and had the publicity out there. It was Saturday, April 11th and Sunday, April 12th. There's a big graphic behind them, and like I said, you go to WWE.com and there's still the availability to get pre-sale tickets and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, this was very announced. Very announced. Yeah. Now, I will say that link that was available for pre-sale tickets that I mentioned, I have a free post on our Patreon. That link now has been redirected to the WWE.com website. So I don't think they've officially announced it yet, but it does look like one by one they're kind of eliminating all New Orleans references on their official documents as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure the real story will come out in the next couple days or the next week or so as to why they changed their mind here, but they must have just gotten better tax breaks and a better deal to come back to Las Vegas again. I mean, these things always just come down to money. Oh yeah. So that just must have been the deal. And I thought I had heard, but I guess maybe I didn't, that in addition to Money in the Bank and a UFC show that they promised New Orleans a future WrestleMania. Maybe I'm making that up, but either way, next year will be in Las Vegas. Now I'm sure some of the indie promotions that are piggybacking had already made New Orleans plans. And, I guess it's just tough shit for everybody else at this point, where they could just switch gears a month later and decide they're going to another town. But beyond that part of the story, beyond curiosity as to what officially drove the decision to go to the same city 2 years in a row, it doesn't matter to me what city WrestleMania is in. I mean, I've never attended a WrestleMania. I've attended WrestleMania weekends. The fact I missed this year in a city I like to be in for other reasons might prompt me to go next year. We'll see. I know when TLB found out it was in Las Vegas, she wondered why we didn't go. And I was like, well, I don't know. I didn't really think about going, but maybe she'll want to go next year.
You will have to let her know what a WrestleMania weekend entails, though.
No, I understand that, but here's the thing. Am I going to want to go to all those indie shows next year? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not
yes.
It's like, if this were...
Again, if I don't saddle you with every bad show, maybe we could do the inverse. I'll stay home. You can pick out all the shows you want to go to and make me watch all the GCW shows.
See, if it were like a classic WrestleMania weekend, I would instantly tell her, no, you don't want to come to this because I'm going to 4 shows every day for 4 straight days and you're going to be bored out of your skull, or you're going to be alone doing whatever you're doing in the city. But modern WrestleMania weekends, what I have learned is you really don't need to be at shows from morning to night because there aren't enough good shows to be at shows from morning to night. So, maybe the game has changed. Maybe we go out there, make it a Vegas trip, and I go to 3 shows instead of 12 shows. I don't know. But the point here is, beyond that, I really don't care what city they have WrestleMania in. And I know we're leading off with this. And I know this is going to be the big story in wrestling probably for the next until Double or Nothing. This will be the big story in wrestling until then Double or Nothing will take the headlines starting on Sunday. But I think this is a bigger story for maybe dyed-in-the-wool WWE fans who, plan their spring schedules around what city they're going to go to and people who are all wrapped up in where WrestleMania is going to be. I'm more interested in the back end of the story and what prompted this and when all those details come out. And that'll take a few days.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see when the reporting does come out. Now, we had somebody in our Discord who did have some inside information, and they nailed it. Everything that they said was exactly true of how everything went, and it's just it's very strange, and it really comes down to, and I wrote this in my piece as well because there's a lot of people saying like, I don't understand, like what, and I keep telling, it's money, big bags of money. That's all that TKO gives a fuck about. They don't care about weather. They don't care about stadiums. They don't care about loyalty. They don't care about previously held contracts or agreements. It's money. All that happened is I'd assume, and we'll find this out, is they just give him a fucking big bag of money instead. And they said a bigger bag of money than New Orleans gave him. And they said, hey, New Orleans, sorry. We're going to go to, so now the quote that you were talking about is this Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation said, we're working closely with our friends at TKO to expand our long-standing partnership, which will include UFC 318 on July 19, 2025, Money in the Bank 2026, and WrestleMania, which will move from the currently scheduled 2026 timeframe to a future year. So essentially kick the can down the road. We'll give you guys Money in the Bank. We'll give you guys a UFC, and at some point you'll get a WrestleMania.
That's
again.
what I saw.
Right.
Yeah, and now who knows? That's not a contractually bound.
No.
I mean, they thought they were getting it this year.
Right,
so what is that?
Exactly.
That doesn't mean anything. You know,
Right.
that means nothing. That means less than nothing.
I think they already have a promised WrestleMania. Was it Indianapolis that has a promised WrestleMania as well? That they're like, yeah, one of these years we'll come.
Well,
Don't
you
worry,
know,
guys.
I mean,
just wait.
Somebody has a promise ring from Austin Aries. Who cares? It doesn't mean anything. You know?
Right, yeah, there's currently 2 TBA WrestleManias on the docket right now. I love this. So there's WrestleMania 42, which is officially TBA, and then there's TBA Indianapolis and TBA New Orleans. It's like, I mean, not this. Come on, man.
Until Vegas says,
yeah,
you know, here's another $1 million in tax refunds because the event was so successful and advantageous for us this past year. So that's clearly what happened here. I mean, they threw in more money and away you go. So it'll be in WrestleMania again. Maybe it'll be in WrestleMania into perpetuity. We know that this new ownership group does things differently. So could it be possible that the days of WrestleMania being in a different city every year are over? I mean, anything is on the table, really.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. If Vegas pays them if they say, hey, we want a 20-year deal
exactly
where we give you $8 billion and WrestleMania comes to Las Vegas every single year, TKO is going to say, sure. Yeah, sounds great. Whatever. $8 billion, you said? Great. Sounds good to us. We don't care. You know?
I mean, you know, they left fucking Minneapolis swinging in the breeze last year. And as we were reminded in the chat, remember, the make good was the double SummerSlam.
That's right. Yeah.
That was the make good. Someone in the chat had that. So, they don't care. I mean, until these things are in writing, and maybe even after they are, they just, they're going to do what they want. So I know all this, there was for about an hour there today, there was so much speculation, maybe London, maybe Mexico with the AAA tie-in. Do people really think they're going to build a WrestleMania around AAA? I mean,
yeah, they're not going to Mexico, guys.
No, AAA is just, come on. They bought some sponsorships and some footholds in media in Mexico. That's what people get this through your heads. That's what the AAA purchase was. They don't care about AAA, the entity. They'll shut down those letters. The AAA purchase
was, we don't want CMLL to get bigger than it's getting. We don't want AEW to get any foothold in Mexico, and we want sponsorships and TV contracts.
Yeah, we want all of their business connections. That's what they were purchasing. They'll shut down those 3 letters as soon as they find it viable to do so, if they feel they've gained their foothold in the country, if they ever do, and when they do, that'll be the end of AAA. So yeah, no, it turned out to just be going back to Las Vegas, which okay, all right, WrestleMania's in Las Vegas.
It's fine. It's actually honestly, it's a decent host city. I mean, I for at least going to the indie shows and stuff, it's all pretty centrally located or whatever, so I don't care. I mean, to me,
the time zone's shitty if you're trying to cover and watch all the shows.
Yes, that is the one issue, is the West Coast time zone is tricky for everybody in the East Coast and Central Time or whatever. But other than that, it's whatever. Yeah, The big thing with Vegas, and that's what I'm going to be very curious about when they do announce it. And I did hear that last year's, or I guess this year's WrestleMania weekend, the big thing with that was it took place during Easter, and everybody was like, "Why is WrestleMania taking place during Easter? Well, that's ridiculous." Yeah. Well, Las Vegas said, "Hey, nobody comes to our town on Easter, so why don't you come to our town on Easter?" And people did, and that's So I would not be surprised if they do that again. Plus, I don't know if you've seen this, but I've been following a lot of sports business and just kind of tourism business stuff, and Las Vegas is not doing well. Las Vegas is having some issues. At the beginning of this year, they've struggled a little bit, so it might be okay, let's try to figure out what we can do here to drum up some business, at least for one weekend. We'll get a bunch of people here, because I think the report said that gaming is up. Like, people are still betting like crazy and doing all this sort of stuff. They're just not going to Vegas to do it, because you don't need to go to Vegas to do it. You can bet anywhere. And
there's casinos popping up everywhere.
Absolutely. My city, I mean, my God, in Illinois, so we legalized. So we had like riverboats for a while. We had like these, and they were like very faux riverboats. It would be like this one little body of water, then they would build a boat on this body of water. They'd be like, "Yeah, it's on the water. Yeah, it's a riverboat." It rarely was a riverboat. It was actually just a physical building that was near a body of water. But that's all we had for a couple years, and we had like 2 or 3 of those. And I would say in the last 5 years at this point, all the riverboats are now getting brand new casinos in, big time giant casinos. Hard Rock has built 2 giant casinos in my area too. We got one that's in about an hour and a half away from me. There's one that's about an hour away from me. The city of Chicago has a casino in downtown Chicago. Like, they're just popping up like crazy everywhere. So yeah, it's like you're going to get a Vegas experience. And I went to the Hard Rock Casino in Rockford, Illinois, or whatever. And it was a beautiful venue. There was a great concerts going on there. There's a big sports book. Like, there's a bunch of stuff going on there. So I absolutely get how you'd say, honestly, do I need to travel to Las Vegas, or am I kind of getting what I need here? I mean, like I'm saying, big time acts are coming to, these casinos in Rockford and Gary, Indiana and stuff like that. It's not, you don't have to necessarily go to Las Vegas to gamble or to have, a casino anymore.
It's funny because at the 2018 WrestleMania in New Orleans at the Collective venue, that was the year that Gabe ran with Game Changer. I think that was called the Collective. Then the other venue would have been the High Spots venue, which was in a different place. But down at the Collective venue in 2018, which was in Lake Pontchartrain or whatever it's called, Lake Pocahontas, Lake Pontchartrain, whatever the fuck, right outside. It was on a lake, and there was one of those river boats, but you just like walk onto it.
Yeah.
Like there was a riverboat casino literally across the parking lot from the WrestleCon venue in New Orleans. And I remember we went early and hung out on the sleazy riverboat casino for a couple hours and dropped a couple $100 before we went to the wrestling shows. But that's speaks to some of the issues Las Vegas, and that makes sense. I had never thought of that. That's precisely why they ran Easter. I didn't think of that angle, but that's very smart. and it obviously was advantageous to the city, which is the Pachar train.
There's probably some fucking French. There's probably some weird French word that you're never going to be able to pronounce. So.
Lake Pachar train or whatever. Yeah, that's where my hotel was too, over there. And then High Spots ran the sugar mill. Everyone remembers the sugar mill.
I remember the sugar mill. Yeah,
it was High Spots and TNA and the Crash. The Crash ran that year.
Yeah.
And gave me a chance to see a little LA Park. LA Park was at the Crash, whipping people with his belt. And that's right. Saw Tanahashi, I think, for the first time, I want to say. Yeah. So that was a fun Mania weekend. New York was okay. And then really everything after the pandemic is what sucked. Post-pandemic Manias have kind of been not the same. But all right, so I guess everybody's going to Vegas next year.
Yeah, there you go. So just I found that a fascinating story, but we'll a developing story as well. We don't actually know that Las Vegas is in, but everybody that has any sort of knowledge of the situation has basically said Las Vegas, and we're waiting for an official word from WWE on that. But I think it just speaks to, and the reason I wanted to lead off the show with it just speaks to how cutthroat they are these days. You know what I mean? Like, it's that they don't, nothing matters. And it's just something that I always have to reiterate to people. As long as you have a big bag of money, that's all that they care about. That's why they sold off all their content to Netflix. That's why when the Peacock deal ends up, or expires at the end of this year, they're going to hope that Netflix gives them, they're just getting out of everything. Just give us money and we'll give you content. That's it. That's what we are. We're a content factory and you do the rest. Pay us, and we'll bring our traveling sideshow to your town.
Same for me. You want to pay me, I'll bring you my traveling sideshow. If Sports Keto wants to give us $1.5 million, we are listening, and we will not hang up the phone.
1.25 mil, I think, was the
1.25, right? 1.25 million. So our email addresses are public, and we're ready and waiting for any offer.
Rich at voicesofwrestling.com if you want to get at me.
Right. That's right. But CC me, because Rich is sleazy with the books.
I will sell you down a river.
Yes. I want to make sure I'm in on this because nobody cooks the books quite like Rich Craich. That's it's a well-known fact. So you got to watch out for this guy. He is secretly sassy after all.
Definitely.
Even though I'm the one that does the books.
Well, technically, sort of.
I do half the books.
It's half the books,
It's your half the books that are actually my half of the books are the ones that go unchecked. So I should probably button up over here.
Yeah, hold on a minute.
I should probably definitely button up over here, but
we're available.
We're available.
Give us a call.
Yeah,
or an email, whatever you want to do. Anyway, so that is that's that story there. Developing story, and like you said, will probably be the biggest story in wrestling for the next couple of days until AEW Double or Nothing comes this Sunday. From the Desert Diamond Arena. Speaking of casinos, the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Have you ever been to Glendale, Arizona? I don't think you've never been to Arizona, right?
No.
Yeah, Glendale's very odd. It is so Glendale for people that do not know. That's where the Arizona Cardinals stadium is. So they've hosted Super Bowls, they've hosted WrestleManias before and stuff, but it's not that close to Phoenix. And it's very strange because it's all of a sudden, it's like this and it's built up a lot recently, but essentially it's just this big, giant sea of parking lots. And then there's like a Margaritaville and then these random arenas all around it. It's very strange. It's just like a shopping mall and then stadiums. It's very strange. So that's where they're running. They're running at the former Phoenix Coyotes / Arizona Coyotes / Utah. What the fuck are they now? They gave him a name now.
They're Bison, the Mastodons.
Mastodon. I think they're like the Mastodons or something like that, right? The Utah.
It's not a plural name. It's the woolly mammoth, the Utah mammoth, or the Utah Mastodon, or
someone that knows hockey, please.
The Utah Threads.
Mammoth. The Utah Mammoth.
I said the mammoth.
Oh, you did. Okay, you did.
I said the mammoth. I said Mastodon first. Then I said Threads. Then I said Blue Sky.
But
then I said
you got there.
Yeah.
Blue Sky, Mastodon,
Threads.
Oh God, remember that day? We're going to Mastodon. Everyone's
going to Mastodon.
This sucks. We're out. What's next?
Then everybody went to Mastodon, and they were like, "Wait, you got to pick like a category to be in." And I don't understand any of this. Then everybody went to Threads for a day.
Yeah.
Everybody went
the Threads Day. Yeah, I love the Threads Day. That was a great
Threads Day. Then there was, what was the Bumblebee themed one, the yellow one?
Hive or something like that? Hive.
Was it Hive, maybe?
I think so.
Then everybody went to Hive for like half a day. That one really
did
sucked.
not last long. Hive Social. Yeah, Hive Social. I remember that one.
Yeah.
That one lasted like an hour and a half. Like, people didn't even give that one a try. They
you remember what happened?
Fuck this.
Do you remember what happened? Hive was like, oh, yeah, by the way, there's no privacy here, and any information you gave us is...
We have no encryption, and all your stuff is getting sold.
Right.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah. All right, that's the end of Hive Social. Does it still exist?
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't remember.
Is there still somebody hanging out
they're
on
like,
Hive?
this is going to be the one. HiveSocial.app is going to be the one, and I'm waiting here.
Right. Yeah. And that doesn't even cover the bevy of like right-wing versions of Twitter that are out there.
Yeah. I think Hive is already gone. Oh, my God.
Hive. Well, yeah, I mean, the infrastructure.
Here it is. Socialize on Hive Social. Yeah, I don't know.
The infrastructure was just, they admitted like there's no security here. You're and you have to sign up with your bank number and
right, just give us your social and your bank routing number. That's all we need.
Right.
Nothing's encrypted, and but that's all right. Then
Blue Sky gonna make it? Craich, is it gonna make it?
It's held on longer than I thought. It's held on longer than I thought. Along. Yeah, it's sputtering along.
There's like zero engagement for anyone, and even like the major. I did notice too that like most of like the major, like a lot of major sports teams haven't even bothered making an account on Blue Sky. It's like because they get on there and there's just no engagement to be had whatsoever, and they're like, oh fuck this, what am I wasting my time for?
Right. The social media team of the Minnesota Timberwolves doesn't need to waste their time with another app that they have to copy and paast all their stuff to. So it's like, forget it.
Yeah. So like I think baseball, like there's only like 24 teams or something, and because I pulled up the Reds account and it's like, content coming soon, and there's like nothing on it, and it's like, all right, well, it's so it's just hard because there's just no one can get any followers or engagement over there. But it is puttering along.
It's so good. Okay, so the Reds Blue Sky, it's even better than you mentioned. 1.6 thousand followers, so 1,600 followers. Okay, not bad. Following 0, one post. 7 months ago, quote, the Reds join MLB in going purple today in honor of #Spirit Day. We are proud to support LGBTQ youth and speaking out against bullying. And it got like 51 likes and 1 retweet, and they were just like, all right, forget it.
That's it.
Timmy,
that's enough Blue Sky for us.
Just a log off. It's fine. We're good. Keep that up. That's a good sky to have up. What I mean? It's not a bad one.
Yeah.
It's not like we lost to the,
right
5-0 loss, and you know how they're like, we'll get them again next time, or like, I don't know, the White Sox, I see it a lot from the White Sox. I don't know if it's the case of all other teams, but when they lose a game, they're like, back at it tomorrow, or whatever. The score, it's like 12-1 or whatever.
And then the graphic, the same graphic with a picture of whatever player happened to get a hit that night.
Yeah.
And it says Angels 12, White Sox 1.
Yeah. It's Miguel Vargas,
yeah,
with his 1 hit, and it's like, back at it tomorrow. Yeah. It's Tigers 12, it's White Sox 1. It's like,
keep grinding. Yeah.
right. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of those. So you're glad that the Cincinnati Reds post isn't that. In fact, it's just like, hey, spirits, we don't like bowling, we're out. And then they're just done. They're
nothing.
Like,
and
we're
then
good.
Nothing.
They didn't even bother again. They didn't know opening day, not happy opening day, just nothing. Just you're out.
Yep,
that's it. Let's see what the White Sox. Let's see what the White Sox Blue Sky looks like. They probably don't
even have one.
They probably don't. If there's a team that doesn't have it, it might be the White Sox that don't have it. Let's see here. Yeah, they don't. Somebody sniped them. There's a guy who has White Sox, and it's not them. And even that guy stopped posting. Even that guy. Oh no, he's still posting. He's posting but yeah, some dude, BK.
Some guy rubbing his hands together, waiting to sell the.
right. This guy named BK has @whitesocks.bsky.social. So if they want it, it's available. They could buy it from this guy, but clearly they do not. So the White Sox do not have a Blue Sky account at all.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's something like 23 teams or something. And every sport is like that. There's a couple teams missing from like every sport. I'm like, because I was like, maybe I'll follow everything I follow on Twitter on Blue Sky, So and then there was nothing there to follow. There's nothing there to follow. It's just all the people that you used to follow on Twitter who stopped. There's a lot of people who like left Twitter to go to Blue Sky. And like that's it. And then they went from 50,000 followers to 178 followers, and they get no engagement. And because they're not getting any engagement, they're not motivated to ever post anything.
Right.
So
the endorphins, you're not getting that endorphin boost that people claim that they don't want, but actually do want.
But it's exactly what they want. That's what exactly everybody wants. If you're not just there looking for information, if you're posting on these things, you want the engagement. When you're not getting it, it kills your motivation to post. So that's also what's hurting it too. People don't have enough followers. They're not getting engagement, and then they're not wanting to post. I mean, there's beat writers that left Twitter to go to Blue Sky. And every now and then I'll check their Blue Sky feeds because they don't post on Twitter anymore. And they're beat writers for these teams. And they I don't even, what do you call it? A post on Blue Sky? They post like maybe 3 times a week, where like on Twitter, they were posting 10 times a day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, but I will say, unlike all these other dead ones that we named, it's chugging along. Like, people are still kind of using it, and it's surviving. And the people that are leaving generally aren't coming back to Twitter. But when it comes to real blue checks, I'm not talking about the dorks that pay for it because they're chasing the pennies, but the old school, like what we used to call blue checks, official accounts and things like that, they're all still posted up on Twitter because that's where they're getting engagement, and that's where they're able to, plug whatever they want to plug and everything else. And, that's, as someone who doesn't give a shit whether Twitter survives or dies or Blue Sky survives or dies, someone who's just watching from afar.
You're a Hive guy. You're a Hive social guy. You're the guy.
I'm over on Hive.
Hive social.
I'm waiting for everyone to come over to Hive. As someone who's sitting in his own private group in Mastodon, waiting around for everybody, I am just watching from afar. I think that Blue Sky clearly isn't going to peter out like these other ones did, but at the same time, I don't see it gaining any momentum unless Twitter, like if Twitter dies, all these people who need the to fucking grab their phone every 20 seconds, they're going to want to go somewhere, and then that's going to bring everybody to Blue Sky. Yeah. But then what happens then? The undesirables are going to come, right? And then you're going to see the whole process play out again, and it's just going to be fucking a more functional Twitter with the same fucking beefs that you had before. It's not going to be the utopia that it seems to be for some people now. So,
well, that's why you just chill in your group or whatever the Mastodon thing was.
Stick in Mastodon. That's right.
I'm pretty tech savvy, and I got to Mastodon. I was like, this doesn't make one fucking bit of sense to me. I'm out right away. Like, I can't even imagine most people if they got there and it was just like, all right,
Mastodon?
What group are you in? And I was like, I don't know. You tell me, man. I don't.
Like, you're talking about Mastodon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so confusing. Yeah, but the thing is, at least they tried something different.
Yes, I'll give them credit.
Like, all these other ones are just Twitter.
Yeah, it's like Twitter but worse.
There's Twitter with different words. Like, it's not a tweet, it's a post, or it's not a retweet, it's a repost. It's just Twitter. You just copied their technology. So at least Mastodon had the guts to try something different. But people just want a Twitter that isn't broken and doesn't have assholes on it. It's not Twitter that they don't like. The concept of Twitter is what people are addicted to. So that's probably why Blue Sky is working where some of these other ones didn't work.
But how the hell did we get here? We're talking about the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. But how did I even get there? I have no idea how we even got there.
Because we started talking about
we were trying to figure out the Phoenix Coyotes, what their new team was or whatever. But
the Mastodons.
Yeah, the Mammoth, the Utah Mammoth. Yes,
no S,
no S. Mammoth, Utah Mammoth.
You see, they're trying to take woolly mammoth DNA and recreate them. Like,
no, why? Stop. We saw this play out. Like,
why? But but they're doing it.
Oh my God.
They've already created a woolly mammoth like in rodent form as a test, right? So now they're going to expand that and they're going to try to recreate the woolly mammoth. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like nature should be allowed to take its course with these sort of things.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. Like, if they went extinct, let's just maybe let them stay extinct.
Maybe, I don't know.
Kind of like the dinosaurs, again, nobody watched movies in the 90s, right? Nobody watched Jurassic Park. Nobody watched Terminator. Like, what the fuck happened here?
I don't. So you're not in favor.
The woolly mammoth's big, man. Do we really want to bring the woolly mammoth back?
Big animal.
That's a big animal. Like, I know that they did the thing where they brought back some wolf or whatever. Did you see that? Like some white wolf somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it's back. They're like, the first, the first whatever cub in 1,000 years.
That was
born.
bullshit, though. That ended up being just a variation of something that.
Oh,
but anyway,
it was fake.
Yeah, it was. It's a Fugazi recreation of a species.
God damn it!
It was Fugazi. Yeah, it was just. How do I explain this? They just changed some characteristics of an existing wolf to make it look like that other wolf.
Oh.
And then the engagement accounts got a hold of it.
The dire wolf, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So that ended up being fake. But they're working on everything though. The woolly mammoths,
the woolly. Let's leave the woolies. Let's leave them alone.
What if we just promise to put one in every zoo so you can see what a woolly mammoth looked like?
Okay. All right. I'm listening.
Oh, you're okay with that? See? All right.
We're cooking. I'm listening.
Now we're cooking.
I'm listening.
We just contain them to zoos.
Yeah,
right?
They're pretty big. They're pretty big, though. But yeah, if we contain them to zoos and go, hey.
But even then, I mean, you're going to go to the zoo. You're going to look at it. And you're going, all right, well, now what? Now what do I do? I just saw a woolly mammoth.
Hair and big tusks. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I get the gist. Now what do we do?
Let's go look at the giraffe.
Now let's go look at the dire wolf that they
right. The whole zoo is just all these just decrepit, these old weird.
So every zoo is now Dr. Moreau's Island.
Right. Oh, there's the saber tooth. Oh, look at the saber tooth.
Yeah.
Look at the dodo. Oh, look at the dodo. Good.
And here is a mantar we created by accident. It's half man,
right.
half goat, and he's just he kind of speaks a language we don't understand and. Don't get too close to him though. You know, so that's what it's going to end up being, so you can't even do that. You can't even just enjoy a woolly mammoth at the zoo because we can't control ourselves.
No, we're going to humans are fucking dumb. Yeah.
Then we're going to have T-Rexes and,
we're there. Then we're going to have an island where all the new dinosaurs are from. And then again, we're just Jurassic Park.
Yeah. They're going to mutate with each other. And it's just, but it's coming though. They're doing it. Mm-hmm. There's people working on this because they're finding the woolly mammoths in the permafrost or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
and they're thawing them out and they're getting the DNA. And
I didn't know this dire wolf was a Fugazi wolf. That changes everything. Yeah.
Google it, you'll see.
I was pretty scared because I was like, oh man, we're already at that point. That's pretty wild. But now I find out they're cheating, so that changes everything.
Yeah. Well. What are you going to do? Nothing you can do.
Yeah. Anyway, my long-winded was one time when I was in Arizona. I went for spring training, which I highly recommend spring training in Arizona. A lot of fun. And I was in Glendale. We were eating because it was like the White Sox facility. The White Sox and the Dodgers facility is in Glendale. So we were there, watching some games. Then we went to go eat in Glendale. And I remember we were next to the arena. And I've never had this happen before with a sporting event, but we're sitting in, and whatever, I forget what restaurant it was, but it was like in you could see the entrance, like the main entrance to this Desert Diamond Arena. I forget what it was called at that time, but that's when the Coyotes were there. And I remember I'm like, you see a couple people walking in and they're opening the doors and walking in. And I'm like, I wonder if there's like a Coyotes game going on or whatever. And there's like 5 people walking in the entire time. Like nobody is going to this game. I could tell. And obviously they did horrible with attendance. And I've never had this happen before. We're sitting at our restaurant and some guy walks up and he goes, "You want to go to the Coyotes game today? I have tickets. Here you go." And he was like an official employee from the Coyotes, just like handing, like, just please come watch the Coyotes. Like, you're here, you have nothing to do, please. And we're like, nah, we're good. And he's like, they're free. You can just take them right now. They're free. He probably had like a X amount that he had to give away or whatever, because he wouldn't take no for an answer either. He's like, you can just take them. I mean, I don't care. You can go or not, or just take them. We're like, no, we're good.
He can't come back to work with tickets in hand.
Because I remember being like, brother, we're not going, so find somebody else. He's like, no, just take them. And if you don't use them, you don't use them. I'm like, we're not going to use them.
Come on, Keith Kachuk is playing. Come on, come out to the game.
But I can see why they're gone now. So I don't know what the Desert Diamond Arena does anymore. But I do know it is hosting AEW Double or Nothing this Sunday, as well as the Dean Show taking place from the parking lot of the Desert Diamond Arena. But we'll talk about Double or Nothing first here. Coming up on Sunday. As of right now, I don't know if this is updated. Now, AEW Collision is going on right now. So I will, let's see here. Let's see if I can figure out.
Maybe I can review that this week, unlike last week.
If it shows up.
Little Aaron Full.
Always easy to find AEW content.
And people are like, "Oh, it's up now." I'm like, "It's old news. I'm not reviewing Collision."
It's 4 days old, man. I'm good.
Fucking Tuesday. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it.
The time has passed. For sure. All right. So I don't think anything's been added to the 0 hour. We do have one new match, though, so I will explain that match here in a bit. They added a 9th match. So we have 9 matches on the main show.
Okay.
As far as I know, none of these are moving to the pre-show. I don't see any reason why they would move any of these to the pre-show. But Paragon, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong versus the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, and Josh Alexander. A trios match added to the Double or Nothing main card.
Oh, well, that spoiler alert. I'm guessing that Paragon got past the Grizzled Young Vets tonight on Collision. Then.
Sounds like they may have. Yeah, sounds like they may have defeated the Grizzled Young Vets to move on.
Who I forgot were involved with AEW.
You always do. Yeah, you see them and you're like, oh yeah.
Oh wait, guys. Yeah. They. I think they work here.
I think they're employed. Did they ever get a graphic? I don't know if they ever got the graphic. Well, Mina didn't get a graphic until yesterday, right? So.
Well, Tony likes to save the graphic for a big moment.
Right. Well, could be waiting a while for the Grizzly Young Vets.
Exactly.
I don't know if they're ever getting one.
They work like once every 3 months. I doubt they're signed. I think that's more of a.
That's fine with me.
I thought they were gonna have a big feud with FTR, and I thought, oh, that could be interesting.
I thought they would do anything interesting ever.
Well, they kicked off a feud with FTR. I think they ended up having one match, and then they disappeared. And then they just showed up during an interview, because how else do you set anything else up in AEW except wandering in on someone's interview? And then they just walked in on Paragon's interview and set up the match that we're going to see tonight. So I guess they just decided to show up at a building in their little fucking wrestling tights and their scarves, and they got themselves booked. I guess in canon, that's how it works, right? You just show up in your little wrestling tights and you
wait for Renee Paquette to do an interview. There's 2 ways to get it. You either get out of there and get out to the tunnel and run out as quickly as possible when someone's making a challenge or after a match or whatever.
Right.
Or you perfectly time walking into the hallway when Renee Paquette is saying, my guest at this time is this person. Then she says, we saw you do this. How do you feel? And then that person talks, and then you jump in right at the right time.
You ambush. Then you ambush it. Yeah. You have to ambush it while you're wearing your little underoos, and you got your soccer kit and your scarf on. And, why are you there in your gear when you haven't worked in the company?
Always bring your gear. Bring your gear. It's always the adage is always bring your gear, not always wear your gear, but they've decided to always wear their gear, which is
the Pac theory. Just always have it on.
You never know when a fight's going to break out. So
the Pac Randy Orton theory, right? Just always have the gear on.
Right.
Never
put a t-shirt over your trunks, but have the trunks on. Yeah, be ready.
I guess Orton did have the evolution period where he wore the dress shirts and the slacks.
True.
He did have that period where they had them all emulating Ric Flair. But ever since then, just out there in his underwears. Always.
The Viper t-shirt over the trunks. No pants.
That's right. He walks around his house like that, I'm sure. And
I'm sure. He hasn't worn pants at his home.
No.
That man has not worn pants in a very long time.
Nor have I. I mean, I'm not wearing pants now. I mean, it's sad because the girl is almost old enough to where now I'm going to have to start wearing some pants.
Yeah.
They get to a certain age where it's like, oh, fuck, I got to put pants on.
I can't just wear my underwear around the house all the time.
Right. Man. So I'm taking advantage of it while I can, But I'm not graduating to actual pants. No, shorts.
Basketball shorts.
Yeah, shorts. Absolutely. Shorts, sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Whenever I do wear actual pants, and I come back home, I'm like unbuttoning them as I'm walking in the door.
Right.
The pants are coming right off. Yeah. What is this? Right. Just they got to come off. So I would imagine that's what Randy Orton's doing over there, walking around in his Viper t-shirt and his little underoos, I hate the wrestling tights that look like literal underoos. I think Tyler Bate wears that style.
Yeah.
It's there's some indie wrestlers too. They think it's cheeky, where they have the front of it looks like the little pouch where you pull your gimmick out to piss. I don't like that. I think that it creeps me out. Even though it's the same amount of material, I don't think your wrestling tights should look like underwears.
No, I agree. There was a in one of the Tour of the Territories episodes, I forget if it's one that's out already or not, flagship.patreon.com, by the way, my journey through the 1983 American Wrestling Territories. A bunch of guys wear like white trunks, and I'm like, why are you wearing white trunks? Like these small white trunks. And I'm like, you literally just look like you're wearing underwear. Like you look like you're wearing just classic whitey tighty underwear. Like, for God's sakes, get red tights, get blue tights, get black tights, get something other than white. Do not come to the ring with white tights on. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
or trunks, I should say, I guess.
Trunks. I guess tights would be the long ones.
The pants, yeah. Like the Shawn Michaels was tights.
Yeah. Well, I could think of some guys that wore white, right?
Yeah, it's just the white trunks alone is tough.
Junakiyama, where's the white?
Well, he made it work. It's fucking Junakiyama.
Yeah, you can make it work. You can't be like out there sharding though, because you're in big trouble.
Right. I worry about. Yeah, you're really on edge. You're really living on the edge.
You're really living on the edge. You know, any kind of body fluids, really. So it's you got to do a real good shake at the urinal.
Oh yeah, I always think about the little. If you wore the diaper looking trunks out there, you got to make sure you don't get any little yellow stains on the front there. It'd be really embarrassing.
Yeah, it's like when you're wearing gray sweatpants or something with no underwears, and you really got to give it a good shake, because you got to give it that extra shake. Otherwise, you're gonna mark yourself up, and that's embarrassing.
Happens with the khaki sometimes too. You get done.
Yes.
Like, fuck. Now I got to sit in this bathroom for 10 more minutes. Hope none of my coworkers walk in. Hope nobody else walks in.
Yeah.
Stand by the dryer. You got to stand by the hand dryer. And be like, no, just dry my hands. Here you go. As you're pushing the pants as close to the dryer as possible, and it's like
they know you just didn't give it a good shake. They know.
Yeah.
They've been there.
They do, but the outside world, I don't know if the outside world would. You know what I mean? If you walk out in the Gen Pop with that, people are going to look at you.
I know. It looks like you pissed your pants.
It's brutal. Hate it.
Yeah, no good.
No, but anyway, Double or Nothing. We do have a 0 hour match. So I'm glad we waited. We have a 0 hour match. Harley and Anna Jay versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford added to the 0 hour.
All right. Well, I wish we didn't have a 0 hour match.
Yeah, we didn't need that one. We could have done without a 0 hour match. So when you ask me, did I watch the pre-show? I don't know. I might say no this time. We'll see.
Well, they are involved in a hot program.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give them that.
Yeah.
It's been tearing up the TV for weeks now. So
it's a deep story too. Got Harley's like, I have tits, you have an ass. That's our thing. I got boobs, you got a butt. Here we are. There it is. So
yeah. Penelope will be doing another job, probably, right? I mean,
doing some bad cartwheels and doing a JOB. Yeah, as per usual.
She'll do the Muda back spring elbow. Now, where is she going to end up at the end of the flip? Is she going to be far left of the corner, far right of the corner?
Well, she stops short. I love when she stops short.
Too short.
Just falls back, and her opponent has to walk towards her and fall down. It's like, oh, dear God.
It's the mystery of where she's going to end up when she's done doing the back handspring. That is really the most intriguing part of the Penelope Ford Muda elbow. How does she not remove that from her arsenal?
I have no idea.
This company has agents, right? How does, I don't know, Jerry Lynn.
Yeah, Jerry Lynn and Dean Malenko say, all right.
Pull her aside and say, listen, we're going to holster this one until you could actually be anywhere near the target when you complete your back handspring. This just, it's not a move for you. It's not a move for you. We're not going to do this anymore. But they just let her go out there and do it. They just let it fly. I guess they don't have the heart to tell her. But all right, I'm
you were about to say I'm looking forward to that, but you're not. Yeah, don't lie.
I was going to say something else, but I stopped myself, and I'm glad I did.
Okay.
But yes, I'm not looking forward to that. I cannot lie to you or the listeners, and I'll save the more aggressive thing I was going to say and never say it, because this isn't 2014 anymore.
Z says the Renegade Twins run in. Is that one Renegade Twin back yet? She has been hurt for like a year and a half.
Okay, all right. So here's what happened.
What's the update on the Renegade Twins? What's happening?
One came back and then the other one went out.
Right. Okay.
That's what happened.
We got to be pretty close though, right?
We just can't get them on the same page.
Both Renegade Twins. We can't get Charlotte and or Robin, right? Isn't it Robin with a Y?
Who aren't even really twins, by the way.
What?
Yeah, they're not even really twins.
So it's not a dire wolf, and they're not actually twins. What the fuck?
They're not.
They have the same last name. They have the same last name, Joe.
I didn't say they weren't sisters.
Okay, but they're not twins.
What I'm telling you is they're not identical twins. I can promise you that.
Okay, so they might be. Are they actual twins though?
Well, we have Google at our fingertips.
Let's see. Oh, a real life twin sisters, Charlotte and Robin.
All right, so they're a fraternal. What do you call that?
Yeah, I think so. April 14th, 2000. They were both born.
Well, there you go.
Charlotte is Charlotte's shoot name, and Robin's shoot name is Robin, but she added the Y. She took out the I because it is pro wrestling, so you got to take out the I and replace it with a Y.
Of course. Now pull it up. They're not identical twins.
I mean, they're clearly not. No, I mean, I never thought they were identical twins.
Oh, okay.
They look different. I mean, they don't look the same.
Yeah.
They could probably still pull off a twin magic if they needed to.
Well, yeah, it's wrestling. Just be in the same gear, and
yeah.
I mean, Brian Blair and Jim Brunzell did it. So why can't they do it?
There was about a year and a half of egregious Bella Twins twin magic where Brie was Brie, and Nikki had live event charisma added, and it was like, no, come on, like this one's not anywhere close. Like the referee cannot. All he'd have to do is look down and be like, no, that's not Brie. Get out of here.
Yeah,
Hit the bricks.
Yeah. And they didn't even wear the same gear though. Like one was the tomboy backwards hat thing.
Yes.
And the other was like a hippie.
Nikki. Yeah, Nikki wore the backwards hat. And
the sideways hat with the high socks, and the the tomboy thing, the sexy tomboy,
yes,
Rich, like
tomboy,
yep. Tee-hee, I'm not trying to look hot.
Just
look
one of the boys. I'm just one of the boys.
Just one of the boys with giant cans.
Right.
With a super tight shirt with cleavage. But otherwise, I'm just one of the boys. And then the other Bella was like a hippie.
Yeah.
Right? Like doing the whole, I'm all into hemp.
I probably smell.
We grow our own legumes at home. That whole thing, Also, like sexy though, like
yes,
like,
right.
I'm
a
such
homesteader, but I'm a very sexy homesteader.
Yeah, right. Like I'm just an unsexy gardener, but was obviously very sexy. Like it's just very stupid. But look at me with gourd. I grow gourds. It's an unsexy thing to do. Yeah, but look at you. Like this is dumb.
Right. Yeah.
No, but the Renegade Twins can undoubtedly, based on these other examples,
can pull off the twin magic. Yeah.
I mean, at one point, Brunzell was wearing like wrestling boots, and Blair was wearing the yellow and black Nikes.
Yeah. Right.
And they were still doing the mask confusion, and the referee was just like Danny Davis would be baffled. By this.
I can't. How am I supposed to tell?
Yeah, it's got to be the same guy. They didn't even have the same body, really.
No,
similar, I guess. But B. Brian Blair was clearly on steroids, and Brunzell was a little pudgy. He a pudgy guy. Yeah, a little pudgy. Very athletic, but he had the fat, pudgy cheeks that you just wanted to squeeze, and he had like the soft little belly. But B. Brian Blair was like kind of ripped at his peak, and Blair had like the curly mullet, and Brunzell just had the standard 1980s Pete Rose haircut,
Yeah.
And Blair had a little mustache like Magnum PI, and Brunzell was clean shaven. The point here is these men look nothing alike.
Their tights were the same.
Yeah.
So who is Danny Davis to? Yeah. How is he supposed to figure this out?
And actually, if you go back and watch Killer Bee matches, one guy had thicker black and yellow stripes on his tights than the other.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
Yes. If you pay close attention, because it always bothered me as a kid. I'm like, why don't they have the same tights? One guy has super thick stripes on his tights, and the other guy has thinner stripes on his tights. It's subtle, but it's true.
Interesting.
But these referees, I mean, you can forget about it.
These World Wrestling Federation referees were none the wiser.
No, Joey Morella just couldn't handle any of it. They all look the same to me. So they were always able to pull that off. So why can't the Renegade Twins pull it off?
Absolutely.
Rich?
So hopefully they can run in here on this pre-show on the 0 hour and finally get the Renegade Twins back once and for all in AEW. But let's get to the actual show itself. Double or Nothing 2025. I'm going to start off with what they have announced now as the official main event, and it is the Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay Owen Hart Foundation Cup Memorial Tournament, whatever, final. The winner earns an AEW World Championship match at All In. So I think is that officially locked in, that if you go to All In, if you win this match, you're going to All In? as well. I think that's been official now.
That I don't know. I know they get the title shot.
Okay, I thought it was. I think it's title shot at All In, but correct me if I'm wrong in the chat room if not. But yeah, so we got the Owen Hart Cup Memorial Final here. I think this match now. It's Will Ospreay. It's Will Ospreay in AEW. It's Hangman Page in AEW. Bell to bell, I am pretty fucking certain this is going to be great, right? Like, there's really almost no chance that this match is not really, really fucking good. I have the utmost faith in both Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay, but I am very fascinated by this match for a number of different reasons, and it's reasons that you sort of mentioned as well. I think you mentioned it in your Thursday Dynamite review this morning or this afternoon, and you've also mentioned a couple other times as well regarding this match that there is going to be a very hot crowd, a very divisive crowd, and a very interested and engaged crowd, because this is a classic match that a lot of wrestling companies can't pull off a match like this anymore. Like, WWE rarely does a match like this anymore. A lot of wrestling companies don't do matches where you literally are going in right now, and I'm sure I could pull 1,000 people, and I feel like I'd get 50 answers of who's going to win this match and who should win this match. You know what I mean? It's not only just like I want this person to win, but it's also like you can justify and hope for Will Ospreay. You can justify and hope for Adam Page. You can want Page. You can want Ospreay. It feels like the most coin flip 50-50 right down the middle where I have no idea. And I love that. I have absolutely no idea who's going to win this match. And there's a lot of different directions you can go with whoever does win this match. And there's a lot of different directions you can go with the person who loses this match. But I'm fascinated by that because it's really, to me, it's a total pick'em. I have no earthly idea. I don't know if there's a favorite. I don't even know what the betting lines are for this match, but to me, this is as much of a coin flip or 50-50 or whatever you want to call it match that I've seen in quite some time. And it's going to be the main event of this show with, like you've always said, like a red hot crowd because everyone's going to be engaged and rooting for their favorite or just rooting because it's going to be a great match too. Even if you don't have a favorite, even if you like both guys, which there's a lot of people that are in that camp, you're just going to be like happy that it's a fucking great match, which undoubtedly it will be. So, yeah, where are you at with Hangman Adam Page, Will Ospreay? If you had to pick it or guess it or whatever, I don't have a good. I think we'll have to just do justifications for both guys because I don't really know that I'm going to be able to say it definitely should be this guy and then just go with that conversation the rest of the way.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to win, and I haven't tried to work out who's going to win, and I don't think there's really probably a wrong choice either. But I do think it's going to be a red hot crowd with a red hot atmosphere. Because as you sort of alluded to, and I've been talking about for weeks now on the Dynamite review, you know, I don't know what the percentages are going to be, but you know, you're going to have a third of the crowd that's strongly behind Hangman Page. You're going to have a third of the crowd that is strongly behind Will Ospreay, and you're going to have the rest of the crowd that really likes both guys, and they're just going to be on the edge of their seat, enjoying what is sure to be a great match and popping for every near fall and watching the drama play out and all that. So I think it's going to make for a real electric atmosphere for a match. It's one of my most anticipated AEW matches in a while for that reason. It's a coin flip match to me. I haven't put a ton of thought from a booking standpoint who I think is going to win, and I'm not going to. It's kind of like when the G1 rolls around, and I really never do predictions on the G1 or fill out a bracket or anything. Because I kind of just like to let it play out as it moves along, right, and enjoy how this is kind of similar in a single match scenario. I just want to watch this and see what they do and see if I agree with what they ultimately do and see how the crowd takes to whatever they choose to do in terms of a finish. I have a 1% concern now with how melodramatic and theatrical the end of the promo was last night, where they walked up the ramp at the same time and stared at the trophy and stared at each other. I thought that was a little corny. And it does give me a little bit of concern that the match might end up being a little theatrical or melodramatic at the end now because of that. Maybe they have this hard-fought 50-50 match and they stop to have a theatrical moment at the end. I
think with these two guys, there's a high probability of that with these two guys.
Will Ospreay can fall into that trap at times. And so, you know, I have a small concern of that, but hopefully they don't go down that route and we just get a kick-ass match and we get a winner. I don't want Swerve Strickland involved. I don't think we will get that because he's going to be in that crazy anarchy in the arena and he's got other business to attend to. I think Hangman and Swerve is on pause for a paper. So I'm not, but just for the sake of this discussion, I don't want anyone getting involved. I just want these guys to have a great match. And I want the atmosphere to carry it. And I hope it's a match of the year contender. And I want when it's all over, the winner to come out of it feeling like they have a lot of momentum. And I think the winner will probably has a good chance. I know everyone thinks it's going to be Darby, and I know he climbed that stupid mountain, and I know everyone thinks but I really don't understand why can't Darby be Mox's feud after he drops the title? Mm-hmm. Mox is going to need something to do after he loses the title. So why not have Darby Mox be the program for Mox once he drops it, right? I mean, look, I'm not. So I think there's definitely a chance the winner of this is the one that ultimately beats Mox. I feel like the winner of this is going to come out of this super hot, and it would be a great moment if they were the one to knock him off. And then Mox has the built-in program whenever Darby comes back, the built-in non-title program. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I also think there's a chance that if Will Ospreay wins, that the rabid Hangman fans don't take that very well and turn on Ospreay. That's a possibility.
Oh, sure.
He has very rabid fans, and I don't think it would happen. I don't think that would happen in the other direction. I think if Hangman wins, nobody's going to turn on Hangman. But I think if Ospreay wins, there's always that chance that those Hangman fans, they could turn on Ospreay. There could be, and that might just be more social media vitriol than anything that we feel in the buildings. That's always but I think that there's a slight chance that could happen if Ospreay wins. But either way, I'm just going to enjoy it. And I think it's going to be a great match with a hot atmosphere, and we'll see who comes out of it.
Yeah, I have similar thoughts to you in terms of how the fans are going to sort of react to this match. And I think, on social media, and at least we see it a little bit in our Discord or whatnot, that people do, the Hangman fans really are invested in Hangman, and they really do get very attached to his wins and losses. And that's cool. I mean, I think that's really cool to be that invested in a guy, but sometimes it does get a little too, you know what I mean? And then it becomes like, AEW's lost sight of, they globalize it a little too much. And that, again, I get it. I understand that. But, from my standpoint, that's not where I'm going to be with this match at all. I don't really care who wins. I don't really, to me, I'm more interested in how do we, what story do you tell out of this? How does the winner progress? How does the loser progress? Where does it all go? Because they've entered into it's an advantageous thing that AEW is in. It's a good situation to be in where you have a lot of guys. And that's the thing that's kind of been the conversation this year in AEW, is that you have a lot of guys that could be your world champion. A lot of guys that are maybe quote unquote deserving of being the world champion or whatever. You have guys like Swerve. You have guys like Will Ospreay. You have guys like Hangman. You have a bunch of these guys. Kenny Omega's back. And it's like, people are like, well, it's got to be Kenny's time. And that's a good problem to have, is to have that many people be vying and contenders and legit contenders too, where you can actually buy this person could be a world champion, and it would not, it seems reasonable that this person would be a world champion. But like you said, one of the big issues that I have about that is there's also the Darby factor, and everybody goes, well, what about Darby? What about Darby? And I just don't think Darby is in that conversation right now. I think that would be a very bad idea to push off all these guys, push off a Will Ospreay, or push off a Hangman Page, or push off a Swerve or whatever to go to Darby. Just feels, I don't know. I like you said, to me, the best thing would be when Darby is ready to come back. That's who Mox has to face now. Mox loses the title, and now he's got a new demon to face. It's the guy that he sent off. He went and climbed him out, and now he's back, and now he's going to get his revenge over Mox. I don't necessarily think that feud necessitates Darby winning the title, because I think both of these guys, both Hangman and Will, are pretty damn undeniable at this point too. So if you want to go with either of these guys as your world champion, and they're the guys that beat Mox, I think that's more than easy to do. And again, I think that there's not really a wrong answer there. What I think, if I had to guess or predict or give a thought about who I think is going to win this match, I kind of feel like, and we've talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that at some point Hangman and Swerve are going to get together, right? We know that they're going to team at some point.
Yeah.
Now, is that an all-in match? Hangman and Swerve versus the Young Bucks? Like, that's a match that you could put in a big-time stadium and promote or whatever. I mean, that's a match you could do anytime down the line if you want, but it's not impossible that they go in that direction for all-in, and that would make sense then if Will does win and goes on to the title match and goes on to do whatever he's going to do at All in Texas, because Will doesn't really have a path to anything else at All in Texas, whereas Hangman definitely does. Hangman definitely has that path of we're teaming, me and my old rival are teaming to face the Young Bucks. That's a big time stadium match. That's a big time promoted match. That's a match that I think a lot of people are going to be super interested in. You can also do Hangman versus Swerve at All in Texas if you want them to go at it one more time and they decide to rekindle that feud or whatever. I don't think we're ready for that just yet. And
seems too soon.
It seems too soon. They've kind of teased the opposite of it, so that's probably not where I would go. So I see it as Hangman and Swerve teaming up before I see them face off against each other again. Yeah. Now that might happen. They'll team up and then eventually at some point they'll say, hey, fuck this. We don't like each other. And then they'll go at it again. And that's why I think that if I were betting and if I were kind of predicting, I think there's a cleaner path for both guys if Will wins and Will goes to All in Texas to face Moxley, and then Hangman can do whatever he's going to do. Because Hangman's got other stories. Hangman's got other things he can do. Will kind of doesn't right now. You know what I mean? Will kind of vanquished Fletcher. He vanquished the Don Callis family. Now, you can always start something new, of course, but it just feels like if we're kind of predicting out and figuring out that, the paths forward, it feels like Will's path is pretty open and it would make more sense to just go face Moxley. Whereas Hangman, I think, has a lot of other things that he could be doing.
Well, yeah, because you look at all the other legitimate world title contenders we've talked about. Hangman and Swerve can do something together, either as a team or whatever. Omega obviously can be paired with Okada.
Yeah, right. He's good. We know what he's doing.
Right. So from there, Samoa Joe already got his title shot. Right. So who's unaccounted for at that point? Will Ospreay and Darby Allin. So, would Darby be back by that point? I don't know what climbing down from the mountain entails.
The worst, actually, that tends to be the part where a lot of people die, the descent. So people should not be saying, hey, wait, you made it to the top of Everest. Yeah, making it to the top's an accomplishment, but getting down is just as much of an accomplishment too. So,
so I don't know how long it takes to get down. I don't know what kind of rest you need once you get down. So I whatever. But those would be the only two guys in the, and MJF obviously is occupied with all this Hurt Syndicate stuff. Obviously, that's not long for this world, him being part of the Hurt Syndicate. So he's going to end up feuding with those guys in some form. So he's occupied. Chris Jericho's not around, even though he's firmly been planted in the mid-card anyway. But I'm just trying to go down the list.
Can you imagine?
I'm just trying to go down the list of names.
Jericho slides in there and gets the all-in title shot against Moxley.
It's too soon for Bryan Danielson to come back and confront Moxley, although that's going to happen at some point, probably in 2026. So yeah, that, like you're saying, when you really break down what you can have for All In, it seems like Osprey would be the winner. But this is precisely the kind of exercise I didn't want to do because I don't want to figure it out.
Sorry.
I want to sit there on Sunday.
Yeah.
But, I got a fucking show to do too. So, we got to break this shit down. So, yeah, I mean,
There's paths for Hangman too, though. I mean, Hangman's another guy that, again, it feels like, him and Moxley have been sort of intertwined for a long time as well. And they've, of course, done a very, they've done matches in the past. They've had feuds in the past. So it's not impossible either that you go down the Hangman path. It's just, to me, when I was laying out all the scenarios and all the possibilities, I just had more in the Osprey bucket than I did the Hangman bucket. But it's not impossible. Again, I think it's 50-50. Like, if Hangman wins, would I say, whoa, I didn't expect that? Hell no. No, I fully expect, again, right down the middle. I don't have, maybe as I'm kind of talking it through, I'm maybe starting to buy a little bit more Osprey than Hangman, but it's still very coin flip type of match for sure, which is great. I want that.
You want some betting odds?
Yeah. What do you got?
The latest odds I could find, Will Ospreay is a pretty significant favorite. He's minus 1,000.
Minus 1,000. Okay.
You can get Adam Page at over 5-1. He's at plus 550. So that's 11-2.
That's not bad.
See, I'm good at the math, Rich. That's 11-2. So yeah, Osprey's a heavy favorite, according to the betting odds, probably based on what you just worked out. In fact, he's one of the heaviest outside of the Hurt Syndicate and Tony Storm. He's the heaviest favorite on the card.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. What is the Hurt Syndicate betting line? Because
they're 5,000 minus 5,000.
What if the Suns in Texas, paid off MJF?
Well,
it's not impossible, right?
If you want to put a sprinkle on the Suns of Texas,
I'm just thinking a sprinkle.
They're plus 1,200.
Plus, so, yeah, not a couple bones.
You have at it.
Couple bones on the Suns of Texas. Yeah,
12-1 for the Suns of Texas. So
all right.
Yeah. So I mean, the main event should be great. I didn't love the promo last night. I know it's kind of been a divisive topic. Most people seem to have loved it. I felt it was a rehash of the promo they did 2 weeks earlier. And I spoke about it at length.
Yeah, it was a classic AEW thing. They do this a lot where it feels like the build hits its crescendo like a little too early. You know what I mean? It hits the peak like a week or two early. This happens all the time with their pay-per-views.
They run out of creative ideas.
Right. And then that go-home show is just like, well, remember this segment from a couple weeks ago? Let's just do it again. They do that a lot.
The Sons of Texas Hurt Syndicate was a repeat.
That was the same promo, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's what they should have done with the benefit of hindsight was the promo 2 weeks ago should have been shorter, sweeter, and more confrontational. Then the Callis family comes out, and they kind of put those differences aside to agree to do the Can They Coexist tag, right? Then you do the Can They Coexist tag, and then this week you save the big emotional promo. But because we had two big emotional promos, it kind of took the edge off the second one for me and a lot of other people. Whereas if you only had the one big emotional promo where you laid out the motivations, I think it would have worked better.
Well, yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, because what you do is a couple weeks ago, like you said, you do the, hey, I just want to win this Owen Hart thing because I want to go and I want to win the title at All In. And that's it.
And then it's
purely competition. It's purely competition.
What you do is maybe there's tension and they go nose to nose,
right.
But the Callis family breaks the tension. And then they're like, all right, we have a common enemy. And then you set up your Can They Coexist tag, and you do that and you win. You do everything else the same, but then you do everything identical, and then you even do this week's promo identical.
Right.
You just skipped that first promo, which was too samey to this week's promo.
Right. That first promo probably should have just been more competitive spirit. Yes, I want to win because I want to face the champion. I want to win because I want to face the champion. And then when they get down to it, it's like, okay, here's why I want to face the champion, and here's why I want to win. And like you said, that would have made more sense as a standalone go-home angle as opposed to kind of rehashing it. But I didn't hate the promo as much as you did, but I get where you're going at for sure.
I didn't hate it. I just thought it was boring and redundant. I thought both guys did well. I just thought we've seen this already, and this one's even longer. And then I'm looking at my watch like, all right, come on, Will, let's wrap it up. I thought he was it was so shouty. It was like Brick Tamlin out there. Like we're all yelling, and it just went on for too long. And it would have been more effective if they hadn't done it 2 weeks earlier. And it's like, save Hangman's I need a therapist emotional dump for the one time, and save Will's fiery, it's time for me to ascend to the top for one time.
I have a family. I have a kid. I have a wife. Yeah. Thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, it's again, I didn't hate it, but what I did hate was the theatrical shit at the end when they were walking off. I could live without that. Staring at each other, staring at the trophy, swigging the beer together. Like, all right, come on. This is, it's a little corny now, but again, Will can often fall into that
for sure. Yeah, he definitely can. But yeah, once that bell rings, though, I'm pretty confident both these guys. So it should be a phenomenal main event. Anarchy in the Arena. I believe that they. I don't know if they've actually given the match order. I know that Will said we have to follow Anarchy in the Arena. I don't know if that necessarily means it's the next, the semi-main or whatever. But that's a good match to talk about next. So you have Anarchy in the Arena.
They should open the show with it. Honestly,
that's a great idea. Yeah, I would do that for sure. Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, the Ops. Shibata, Hobbs, and Joe, and Willow Nightengale versus the Death Riders, Claudio, Moxley, Marina Shafir, Wheeler Yuta, and the Young Bucks. Anarchy in the Arena. So we didn't talk about this last week, but I have my beef with this match isn't necessarily the build to this match, because I think the build to this match has been pretty good. My issue with this match, and I like how all the intertwined stories are all coming together and all that sort of stuff. My one beef that I have is I just really, really dislike, and I don't want them to fall in this trap, but they've already fallen in this trap and they're not getting out of this trap, is that every May we do Anarchy in the Arena. We did Stadium Stampede during the pandemic, then we got out of the pandemic, and then we did Anarchy in the Arena. And now we just basically, anytime May comes around, oh, great, perfect. There's a bunch of people that have a feud with each other. Great, we can do Anarchy in the Arena. I don't want them to fall in that trap. I want it to be Anarchy in the Arena happens. It can happen at Full Gear. It can happen at Revolution. It can happen at whatever the fuck. It should just happen organically and not, oh, it's May. Oh, it's time for us to do Anarchy in the Arena. Oh, we just so happen to have a bunch of people that are feuding and intertwined stories that are feuding, and we can all come together. I don't want them to fall in that trap, and I'm afraid they already have. And that is something that WWE really lost a lot of their gimmick matches. Basically, were rendered worthless after a while because it was October. Oh, it's Hell in the Cell time. Oh, it was this. It's this time. Oh, it's you know what I mean? Like they got into that trap where it was just the same thing. Elimination Chamber. Oh, great, it's Elimination Chamber season. Let's do Elimination Chamber matches. AEW should try to get out of that because it lessens the impact of these stipulations, because you're not really like, oh God, this is a feud that needs to be solved in Anarchy in the Arena. The only time you can do this is during Anarchy in the Arena, and it doesn't matter if it's happening in the summer or the winter or the fall or whatever, but to always have it be Double or Nothing, okay, we're getting Stadium Stampede / Anarchy in the Arena, that is, I dislike that aspect of it, even if I do like the build towards this particular match. I just would have. This one deserves it. A couple other. There was one last year that barely deserved it. I think it was like the beginning of the Young Bucks thing. It's like they got a little too haphazard with it, and now one that actually does deserve it is kind of. I'm having this discussion point about it when I really shouldn't. Because this one does. This one did. They did a very good job of building this one up. It's just I don't want to get into the habit of it's May and we do this match, but I'm afraid we're already there. So
yeah, some of them feel forced. There's no doubt about it. Same thing with the Blood and Guts. Some of them feel forced. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I think this is the last couple of weeks. This has felt like a super hot feud. So I think Samoa Joe right now is just having another, I don't want to call it a career resurgence, but every time you write this guy off and you're like, all right, he's finally going to he just goes on another awesome run. And I think it's because of the credibility that he brings to the table. You believe in Samoa Joe. Like he's, again, to steal Eddie Kingston's kind of catchphrase, Samoa Joe's like one of the last of a dying breed of pro wrestlers who comes off like a credible ass kicker. You believe every word he says. He's no nonsense. There's not going to be any melodrama with him. And he knows how to work to what he has left in the tank. And I think that's a big key. And there have been times over the last 10 years where it looks like Samoa Joe is cooked. And then he always has another little resurgence like this one. Whether it was, when he won the AEW world title last year, or whether it was when he had the feud with AJ Styles in WWE, or some of the stuff in NXT. And now this Ops version of Samoa Joe. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. When you look at total package, when you look at promos, how he carries himself, his energy and his aura, and then his performance in the ring, right?
He's just fucking believable. You know what I mean? Yes. It's just so... You believe every word that guy, and that's such a lost art in professional wrestling these days, where a guy comes out and it's not, I don't feel like I'm watching, Joe play a character. I forget his full real name or whatever, but I'm not watching that guy play the character of Samoa Joe. And so often in wrestling these days, I feel like I'm watching a guy play the character but Joe's like, it's just fucking Joe. It's just Samoa Joe. It's hard to put he's just, last of a dying breed is probably the best way to put it. He's just that sort of dude that they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, we need more of them, and because these guys are aging out. It's very similar to what I said a few weeks ago when Takashi Sagara and Jun Akiyama teamed up, and you're watching them, you're like, oh fuck, we're running out of these guys, and they're not cutting English promos, but they're just standing there in the ring. You're like, oh, these are bad motherfuckers, And Joe, that's kind of the Joe thing, but you have the added benefit of these great promos, and he exudes confidence and toughness in just an easy way. It's just easy confidence and easy toughness. He's the guy you want on your side if a brawl breaks out in a bar. You want him. You don't want Rena Yabe. You want Samoa Joe. So, and again, he's holding his own between the belts. He's not who he was in 2005. Could you imagine if he was? He'd be the best wrestler on the planet. He was the best wrestler on the planet in 2005, arguably. But you combine that with what he brings to the table now. And look, he had a different kind of tough guy aura then. I mean, it was just, shit was on. I mean, when shit went sideways at ROH shows with fans and stuff, they'd send Joe out there to handle the fan.
Oh yeah.
Like it was, so I'm not saying like he didn't have that then. It's just different now.
I mean, just imagine that guy walking up to you and say, do we have a problem?
Right.
I mean, you're always going to say no. You're always going to say no. No, Joe, we don't have a problem. I didn't think so. All right, cool. Right? It's like every time.
Yeah. It's
that's the way to determine it. If wrestler A walks up to you and says, "Do we have a problem here?"
Right.
How do you respond to Joe
does
every
it
single time?
instantly put out your flame, or does it right? Like Reneyabe, we might still have a problem.
You know what? Yeah, we do have a fucking problem.
What are you going to do about it, String Bean? Like Samoa Joe comes out, you better hope you're not wearing those white tights that you talked about.
Right. Yeah.
But but the build to this has been great. The crowds have been hot for it. I think the Death Riders are completely revived. I know that's not a popular opinion. I think whoever beats Jon Moxley is going to get such a rub off of that through combination of Moxley's reign has been long. There's people who don't like Moxley's reign, so they can't wait for him to lose. And in kayfabe, the rest of the people can't wait for it. It's a perfect storm. So whoever knocks him off is going to get a big benefit from that. And
he's kind of what heels are supposed to be, but people don't. Yes. People aren't used to that.
It took a while for
wrestling.
people to exactly, and it took a while for people, everyone, us included, to kind of get used to that. And it's like, oh, all right, they just. Oh, yeah, we're not supposed to like him. He's champion.
You're supposed to want him to lose. You're supposed to think he sucks. You're supposed to dislike him, but in a way where you're like, you're not supposed to. The key is you don't want to dislike a guy, and it makes you dislike him so much that you turn off the TV show and you don't want to watch it. But
during part of the Death Riders was the case
for sure. But now everybody's like, oh, I can't wait to see X beat Jon Moxley. And he won. That's it. That's the essence right there. We always talk about that with Jericho too. Everyone's like, oh, I fucking hate Chris Jericho. Yeah, no shit. You're supposed to hate Chris Jericho. And you're supposed to want wrestler X to beat Chris Jericho. Yes, that is the point. That's what heels should be. We lost the way with heels for a long time in wrestling. And some guys get it back and some guys harness that a little bit these days, but you're supposed to think they're annoying. You're not supposed to like them. You're not supposed to have any connection to them. You're supposed to not wait for them to get beaten by the babyface. Like that's what you want out of a heel.
You don't want it to go too far with go away heat. Right. At one point the Death Riders
for sure. Oh, absolutely. But they're not there anymore. They're very clearly
I don't
not
think
there
so.
Anymore.
I think I feel like it got turned around. And you know how I know? Listen to the reactions of every angle they do on TV. That's how you know. People aren't out there doing like the disaffected booing, like, boo, we got to sit through this. No, they're on fire for these brawls that these guys are having. And a lot of that is the people they're up against for sure. But it's if they were cold, if Moxley was a cold heel, these segments would not be getting the reactions they're getting. And I just think at this point, there's still some people dragging their feet on it. That's all. But look, this should be a hot match for the crowd. I'm never really into these as much as anybody else is. I mean, even that one everybody loves where Kingston had the gas can and everything.
That one rocked. Yeah, you were wrong about that. We argued about it at the time. I was bored out of
my mind.
We argued about that one at the time. That one rocked, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. I want to see two guys get in the ring and wrestle for fucking money and prizes. I don't need the 19 guys brawling around the building. But, all right. It's the thing about it is the Anarchy in the Arena match and the Osprey Hangman match. These are the money matches on this show. Mm-hmm. This is not the deepest AEW pay-per-view we've seen, but that never really matters. What sells pay-per-views are the main event. And in this case, you have two matches that I believe are going to drive the business on this show. And that's Hangman versus Will Ospreay. And that's Anarchy in the Arena. And to a slightly lesser extent, and this could be our transition, I guess, unless you have more to say about the Anarchy.
No, we can move on.
Is Money Hater, because I thought that they had a grand slam walk-off home run segment last night on Dynamite. I thought Jamie Hayter was phenomenal in that segment last night. She cut the promo of her life, and then Money attacks her, and it didn't come off like one of those, standard pro wrestling attack angles or whatever, because the things that Hayter said that set Money off are the things that have been the essence of Money's heel persona all along, collecting all the belts. And it really got under her skin when Hayter mentioned that she lost that New Japan belt. And Hayter's promo was awesome. And I really think that was a clear example of a television go-home segment that elevated a match.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it was pretty low on bullshit too. They, when they got in the ring and they were sitting on their little chairs, I was like, oh God, here we go. But yeah, it was basically, yeah, they just threw jabs at each other. They spoke from the heart, really. You could buy both things everybody was saying. And yeah, Jamie just went one step too far and Monet lost her shit and attacked her, and it was like, all right, cool, let's go. And that was I thought it was great. And I'm really looking forward to this match because Mercedes has obviously turned it around in a big way in the recent months. And, we did a show, 6 months ago where we were like, man, I don't know. The whole Money thing's kind of lost and she's not delivering. And that has been, she's definitely turned that around in a big way in 2025 and sort of late 2024 too. Just really turned around and has had some great performances. And, Hayter's been gone for a while, but that match with Toni Storm, I'll always go back to that one. That's one of my favorite women's matches in history. One of my favorite women's matches in AEW history as well. I thought that was phenomenal. And, Hayter's good at, I feel like the combination of these two, Hayter's best matches are with someone who can take a bunch of abuse. Like with Toni Storm in that Hayter match, just got her shit kicked the entire time. And Hayter's just a power and just brutality and all that sort of stuff. And Money can do all that. And Money can sell like the best of them and can take an abuse like the best of them. And that has me. I think it's gonna be a really good match. I would be stunned if this match is not really, really good. And hell, it might steal the show. I mean, it really has that.
Good. I mean, Money's been good for the last 6 months. She's been pretty great with everyone she's in there with. And
absolutely. And I can't see this being an oil and water situation. What both of these people are very good at complements the other perfectly. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. And yeah, like you said, you have the confrontation last night on Dynamite. That only helped raise the stakes a little bit. Now I think Money's going to win. I don't think Hayter's going to beat her, but I don't know. I'm at least somewhat intrigued by the finish.
I don't think. I mean, yeah, because I guess Monet and Toni Storm is the match you want to do. Probably at All In, and that's if you want to do.
They've already started to kind of tease that match too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a way to cast some doubt, but I really can't find an angle. So, and then that brings us to Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. I think Monet and Hayter are going to smoke this match. I don't think Mina Shirakawa can work at that level. There's a chance, too, with the history between these two, it could slip into being real gimmicky. So we'll see. But out of the two women's matches, I'm looking forward to Monet and Hayter way, way, way more than I am Toni Storm.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't have any interest in Mina Shirakawa as a performer, to be honest. She's not for me. I don't really care about Mina Shirakawa.
Yeah. I've liked some of Tony's performances recently, but the character doesn't really vibe with me. Everybody knows that. I'm not going to go on that rant again. And Mina just does nothing for me. So, yeah, I'm kind of, I have nothing. Yeah. I don't know. It's a lock that Toni Storm's going to win that match, so it's not even like an intrigue in any way that who's going to win that. So there's a mortal lock that Tony's going to win, and I don't really like the Mina Shirakawa's work. So get into it, get into it. There you go. Time with Tony and Mina Shirakawa. So let's move on to another match here. Let's do Hurt Syndicate. Let's go with that one. Hurt Syndicate defending the AEW World Tag Team titles against the Sons of Texas, Dustin and Sammy Guevara.
Well, where the Hurt Syndicate is delivering on promos and presence and all of that, they haven't had great matches in this title reign at all.
No, they have not.
And I don't think this one's going to be a great match either. Now, it depends how hard everybody wants to work. Dustin will work hard. That's a given. Sammy hasn't been on pay-per-view, an AEW pay-per-view in ages. We'll see if the Hurt Syndicate have their working shoes on. And I think this has a chance to be better than the last couple of title matches Hurt Syndicate had. But the thing about Hurt Syndicate is they're usually in the worst match on the pay-per-view, the last couple of pay-per-views. So, we'll see. And we'll see what MJF, what kind of involvement he has in all this, if any. And, it's kind of a weird match that came out of left field. Sons of Texas are the ROH tag champs, but that hasn't been mentioned or talked about at all in the build. They just feel like next team up for Hurt Syndicate to knock off and to just bridge the gap until we do whatever angle we're going to do with MJF and the Hurt Syndicate, which I guess is coming in the next pay-per-view cycle. It really sets up an interesting direction for MJF, who's one of the biggest stars in the company, for All In. He's going to do something with Hurt Syndicate, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
He's going to find a partner. Is he going to? What are they going to? It's weird. I can't put my finger on his direction.
Yeah, I'm kind of out on this story. I don't like. It's gotten too goofy too quick for me. and everybody kind of looks like dorks in this entire scenario now. I like the story up until last week, and we do the thumbs up thing, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Next week they're going to turn on him. But then they do. We're just, now I feel like we're getting too chummy. We're getting too many fun photos. We're getting too laughy, too goofy. And I know the ultimate result is the Hurt Syndicate beats up MJF, or MJF turns on the Hurt Syndicate. Or we all know that that's where it's going to go. But it's one of those things where when you get in that MJF vortex, sometimes it's hard to get out, and it becomes a little too goofy and a little too on the nose and a little too wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I'm just, I'm kind of there with this story too. So I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready to figure out what the next step is. So that's why I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll put a couple bones on the Sons of Texas and hope that MJF costs the Hurt Syndicate this match, and then that we can already start progressing towards the breakup here, because we all know we all know it's not long for the world. Let's not do this grab ass bullshit for too long, because we know that MJF can get a little too long with some of this grab ass bullshit. We've seen it in the past many times in AEW, and that's my concern here with the Hurt Syndicate. And I don't want him to drag these guys down into his vortex too.
I thought eventually he would align himself with FTR, and then FTR Hurt Syndicate would go into a program, but obviously they went in a different direction with FTR with Stoke. So I don't know. We all know the Hurt Syndicate's not going to lose. So all of the intrigue is the next step in this awkward MJF storyline, I guess, is the best way I would describe it. And, I still don't understand why Bobby Lashley would vote yes.
Right. I'm
probably putting too much thought into all this, but
you deserve that's how we're supposed to be able to put thought in this stuff. When you say that tells me it's a bad story. When it's like, whatever, who knows? Yeah, but you're right. We have no idea what Bobby's motivations were, other than the fact that he wants to beat the fuck out of this guy, or he's luring him in. But now we're getting a little, MJF's taking photos. My friend Bob. Hey, how's it going, Bob? And I'm like, oh God, we're getting too goofy already.
If this is all a setup, beat his ass. If it's all just a setup to beat him up, then okay, because obviously the story was MVP knew him from before. They created a backstory that, whatever. So that's why he liked him. He won over Shelton by getting him laid and giving him a car. No, I guess he gave Bobby the car.
He gave Bobby the car. He got something.
Oh, did he give Shelton the watch?
He got the watch. He got some bitches and some watches. And that's all he needed. Yeah. He was like, that's good for me. Yeah, that's enough.
So right. But Bobby hated him all along.
He's a simple man. Shelton's a simple man.
I can't. Listen, probably would have won me over too. Give me the women.
The watch doesn't. You're not a watch guy though, right? That wouldn't have done.
I'm not a watch guy. Yeah. I'm not a watch guy.
You could have sold it. Yeah, you could have sold it. Like a couple bones.
Bobby. I mean, that one he hated the guy and wanted to kill him, and then all of a sudden he just votes yes. It's unless it's a setup, it's a little contrived. So because it wasn't the car, he just stole his car and he voted no anyway that week. So I don't know. I'm putting way too much.
Right. And also Bobby could just beat him if you need. Like, what are we luring anybody into? It's one of these things. Like, what's the end goal for any of these parties involved?
Well, I want to see. Maybe they have something here. I mean, I don't know. Maybe MJF's working them. I really don't. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, to me, it feels very much like WWE does these stories all the time. One of Paul Levesque's 4 stories is like a team exists merely to break up. You know what I mean? They come together. Nobody's happy, and they're just going to break up. And it's like, why are you together? Just break up now. There's no point in Finn Balor making boo-boo faces for 3 years. Just leave. Just go. Go do something else, Finn Balor. Like, why are you still in this team? And Alpha Academy did this. They just make boo-boo faces at each other from day one. And it's like, just then break up. Just break. There's no point in being together. So I'm very curious how. I'll give them the benefit. I'll let them tell the story here. I'm just saying, it's getting a little too goofy for me, and I don't want the Hurt. I don't want the Hurt Syndicate to become a goofy comedy act. You know what I mean? And MJF is starting to get a little too goofy with this angle, and he needs to not be full on goofy guy anymore either, because there's a limit to that too. I think you need that edge. You need that MJF edge to make it matter a little bit more. And I don't want him to get too goofy, because we've seen that before.
He's gonna recruit Cope.
Oh God.
Edge, the Edge, give me the Edge. But I'm bummed.
Be awful. Terrible. Now I'm just like, oh God, maybe, I don't know, he might, but Anyway, let's move on, please.
He's going to bring Edge and Christian out for a 5-second pose?
Well, I'll tell you that. All Out, I guess we should mention that too. All Out being officially announced, taking place in Toronto on, September 20th. So moving away from Chicago, going to Toronto. Mortal fucking lock that Edge and Christian are on that show, right? Like, that's a tag team match for sure. Maybe
I would
deeply
suspect.
Yeah, yes. That seems like that's definitely a good one. But anyway, we'll move on here to the stretcher match. Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, on Dynamite, they said that this stretcher match is going to be a combination of the classic Vince Russo ambulance match and the WWE pass the stretcher, take the stretcher past the line match as well, right? So we got the combination of both, where you must put a man on a gurney and then wheel the man from the gurney into the ambulance and then close the door on the ambulance. And then and only then will you have won this match. Am I correct that is the stipulation that is taking place here?
You are correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't love that.
Thanks, I hate it. Thanks, I hate it. So it's just goofy. Then you're just playing with things. You know what I mean? You're just playing with artifacts. It's like...
Yeah. It's
you take moments that are like real, because the problem with all these matches is the idea is that you beat the fuck out of your opponent so much that the doctors have to put him on a stretcher and then it's over. You know what I mean? Like that's not necessarily that like Mark Briscoe hits like an underhook DDT and then puts Ricochet on it and then wheels him pretty close to the line, but then Ricochet rolls off the line or whatever, then runs back into the ring. Or the classic, which I guarantee is going to happen. You can play a drinking game for this because I've seen enough of these to know exactly what's going to happen. You know, Ricochet is going to have one door of the ambulance closed. Then he's going to go try to close the other door. Then Mark Briscoe's going to reach his arm out. No, you can't close the second door of the ambulance. I'm still around or whatever. It's just one of these, we're just playing with artifacts and things.
Trap a guy in a vehicle.
Right. It's just kind of like, vehicle. Oh, man.
When the original intent was guys were feuding for a year or 3 and you wanted to do a blow off and they wanted to kill each other and they were going to have a match until one man was crippled and couldn't stand anymore and had to be removed via stretcher. But that's long. That hasn't been what these have been in decades.
Right.
So now it's just, the stretcher is a prop and we're going to do spots with the stretcher and we're going to put the guy on the stretcher and try to roll him into an ambulance. And I'm sure they're going to work hard. And all that.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be a good match, but ultimately, like, it's my last man standing theory. It's like it'll all be good, but like at the end of the day, you're just going to be watching Mark Briscoe put Ricochet on a gurney and then then pull him up the ramp or whatever. It's just like, okay.
And this isn't some blood feud. I mean, this is just two guys who they cross paths in the $40,000 match or whatever, and then Mark Briscoe saved Zach Gowen from getting beat up. It's like, but I think someone said maybe they're doing it because of Sabu, maybe like some kind of nod to Sabu. But the thing about that is Sabu only had one stretcher match with Rob Van. Like, it's not
but
like
Tony was there. But Tony was there. So.
I don't know if that's not the show he was at.
No, he said. I think earlier today he said on the media call. You didn't get the invite to the media call. He said on the media call.
Let me check my spam box.
It's probably in your junk mail. That's where I didn't find it. Was my junk mail. But that's. I think he said he was at the stretcher match, and that's probably what we're doing here. Is Tony just trying to do?
Let me confirm. I'm sure Tony's doesn't have his facts wrong, but I'm going to double check that.
Yeah, he said Tony Khan was asked about Sabu's passing. He shared that Sabu had fascinated him as a kid and mentioned that he was in attendance for the famous stretcher match between Sabu and RVD.
I'll be the judge of that, Tony. Let me see. The stretcher match was at the Doctor is in. That was a show he was at, I think. Yeah. So let me make sure. Yep. The Gold Scorpio Jericho match. Yeah. So all right. Well, that explains.
Apologize to Tony. Yeah. See.
That's why they're doing the stretcher match.
If you went to the media call, you would have heard that. But
I just wanted to fact check. What's wrong with fact checking?
Nothing wrong at all. Yeah.
More people should fact check. I think that. I did a watch along for that match last week, by the way. So I was at that as well. So maybe I rubbed elbows.
Maybe you did. Maybe you pissed next to him. Yeah.
They're sitting the opposite side though, because you could see him on the hard cam the whole.
Oh, you can see Tony on the hard cam.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
The Taz T-shirt and holding up his little signs and everything.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So that stretcher match, I just rewatched that obviously for a watch along, and they just did spots with a stretcher and then tried to wheel each other basically back into the locker room. I didn't think it's not the Sabu match I would recommend to people, for matches from that era. It's fine. But yeah, these guys are going to work hard, and it's just look, if you're doing it as a tribute to Sabu, I mean, I get it, and that's fine. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be pretty good.
For sure. Yeah, I have no doubt that Mark Briscoe and Ricochet will make the most of the stipulation, even if we're grumpy assholes that don't like stipulations. Just want two men to face you off and one man go to the pay window. You know what I mean? That's what we want, but that's all right. Paragon, we'll quickly talk about this one. We talked briefly about this at the beginning. Paragon, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roger Strong versus the Don Callis family. This is recently added. Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Josh Alexander. I would imagine the Callis family gets the win here. Probably want to get a big win for Fletcher or Takeshita. So I can't imagine
Who are the opponents again?
The Paragon of Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong.
Well, maybe we're setting up someone to challenge Cole for that TV title that's been forgotten.
Oh, yeah, he is the champion, isn't he?
He's the TNT champion.
Paragon.
Because it kind of just dropped the Garcia feud.
Yeah.
And Cole stopped being on TV and they just dropped the Garcia feud. Well, I guess he beat him.
He did. He beat him.
That was the blow off. It didn't feel like. I guess it was the blow off.
I think if they had they just had a bad match. I think they probably wanted it to be the blow off. They just had
stun. That wasn't any good. Nobody called that match.
One.
Yeah. They're probably setting up a challenger for Cole. That's what they're probably doing there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd imagine either Fletcher pins Cole or something like that. Maybe Fletcher goes
either that or Josh Alexander will just lose like he always does.
Right? Yeah.
So.
Roddy will put Josh Alexander in a backbreaker and pin him, and we're like, oh, okay. Nevertheless. All right. Okada versus Speedball Mike Bailey for the AEW Continental Championship. As Okada will have our annual or our monthly at this point. Will Okada try or will he not try match? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he'll try.
I think so too. Now, how much try? Because I think there's levels to try. Because we've seen him at complete zero effort in AEW, and we've seen him at like minimal effort.
Well, I mean, he's not in a match of any consequence in terms of, I mean, it's very firmly a mid-card match. Mm-hmm. So he's not anywhere near the top of the card where you're going to get his maximum effort. You're going to get his maximum effort in like the finals of a Continental Classic or a main event match or something. The one with
Omega.
Like
I'm guessing the next one, that next time we see full effort Okada is going to be all in Texas.
Yeah, of course.
It's not going to be Double or Nothing against Speedball Mike Bailey. So.
No, it could be good, but I mean, it's just look, Okada spent a lot of years never having a singles match like shorter than 20 minutes of any kind. You know what I mean? Like maybe some of his G1 matches, if he was like in Yujiro's block and they were fifth from the top and he just beat him with a Rainmaker in 11 minutes. But any other Okada singles match was going to be a semi-main or a main. He was going to get 20 minutes, 18. He was going to get anywhere between 18 and 40 minutes. And now he's being asked to go out there, and I'm not making excuses, but he's being asked to go out there and have 12-minute mid-card pay-per-view matches. That's not comfortable or something he's used to doing, number one. And number two, it's very clear that he doesn't always have his working shoes on. So I don't know what to make of this. They might go out there and have a great 13-minute match. They might give them 22 minutes and they might blow the fucking doors off I don't know. But I'm not betting on the latter. I would bet on the former, and I don't know. It's on paper, it looks good. But if this was the main event of a WrestleMania weekend show, you'd expect it to be great. But it's probably going to go on second.
Right.
And who knows how much time it's going to get. And
especially with a 9-match show. Yeah, 9-match show where some of these matches are going to get real crunch for time. And that's probably one that I think Okada would say, hey, you know what? If you guys need some extra time, I'll lop off a couple minutes on my match. You guys can have it. So
yeah, he's the guy. It's like, what funny thing is he going to say to Renee? That's what he is now.
Mm-hmm.
So good for him if he's getting $3 million a year
to work X amount of dates for
30 matches.
I think people have kind of figured out exactly the number, right?
30
is it 30
dates?
Okay.
30 There's like a bunch of guys who, if you look at last year, they hit 30 matches on the dot.
Jay White was one of them too, right?
Yeah, and it's more than one guy. Like, so obviously that's the number.
Right on the dot, yeah.
Like that's the number that these guys are negotiating, 30 matches. So, which actually sounds like a lot, but when you think, Okada does like 10 of them during the Continental Classic, right?
Yeah, so that takes up most of his time. Yeah.
And then he'll come to TV And what they always do with him is when he's on TV live, they'll shoot his interview for the next week's TV.
Yeah, he shows up on the screen and calls somebody a bitch and then walks off screen.
Which was clearly taped the week before, and that's what they do with him, you know, because last week he brawled with, he flew to TV to brawl at Mike Bailey in front of the fans for like a minute and then taped the thing with Renee and was fucking home chilling this week, more than likely, because I don't think he was on Collision. So
good work if you can get it. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah.
Great work.
Well, if he's got 30 dates, that's $100,000 a date.
That's
right?
not bad.
If it's $3 million. So
not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Sportskeeda, we're listening.
We'll take a similar deal.
I'm refreshing my my email.
We'll do 30 podcasts a year for $3 million. That's our
I'll take the 1.25. I'm not asking for more than Dr. John or whatever the guy's name was that got the 1.25. I never even heard of that site until that I saw that news story. The Mighty John, what's it called?
The TJR Wrestling. Is that the one you're thinking of?
The John Report or something like that.
Is that what that stands for? I never know what it is. Oh, it is the John Report. Yeah.
I never even heard of that. And Sportskeeda purchased that for $1.25 million. Yeah. Rich, we got to start aggregating news, Rich.
Really, we're in the wrong business for sure.
The fuck are we doing trying to do real work?
I know, we're dumb as fuck, yeah. Scratching and clawing every dollar, every penny. Fuck. Yeah. Anyway, got to do more TJR type stuff. But anyway, what do we have left here? FTR and FTR versus Garcia and McGuinness is the other match we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, so Nigel going to get back in there. And look, the FTR segments on Collision have been great. I mean,
they're great. They're such good heels. It's like anytime they turn back heel, you're just like, never make them baby faces ever again, please. And we're going to do it again, and they're going to be baby faces, and it's not going to be good. But forever and ever and ever, just make them heels. They're so much better as heels.
Yeah.
The whole Dax thing works better as a heel because, like, he's just so fucking annoying. You know what I mean? I like Dax, but I like to hate him. You know what I'm saying? It's so much better if he's a heel because you're like, this is fucking annoying. You know what I mean? In all the right ways when he's a heel, and in all the wrong ways when he's a babyface.
Yeah.
But what's his face? Cash really is great when he's a heel. He blossoms a lot more. Dax is kind of like, you know what you're going to get with Dax one way or another. I think Cash is really good as a heel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm agreeing with everything you said. I think they're great heels, and they've been great on TV lately. And I don't have a problem with this little program. I think they built it up over a number of weeks, and everything made sense, and it wasn't rushed. And obviously, you can just beat Nigel because he's just an announcer, so that's not a big deal, and then you can keep FTR warm and all of that. So, it should be fine as an undercard match. I don't have any problem with it.
So, like you said, not a deep AEW pay-per-view, but you really led with Page and Osprey, and the Anarchy in the Arena are kind of, like you said, the drawing matches, and then Money and Hater, to the lesser extent. But I don't know, it's gonna be an interesting show. AEW pay-per-views are probably the safest bet in wrestling right now, so I have no doubt it's going to be a pretty damn good show. But we'll see. Double or Nothings have been sort of in between. There's been some poor Double or Nothings in the past. That's one that you can sort of circle. Like Revolution is almost always good, if I remember correctly. Like there's a couple pay-per-views that it feels like every time AEW does one of those, it's great. Double or Nothing is one that I think has been. I feel like last year's show was kind of so. So we'll see what happens this year. But we'll be covering it all immediately after the show. On FlagshipPatreon.com, $10 tier, as you said, instant reaction live, our thoughts and review, the best post-pay-per-view review show in the game, guaranteed. We're going live immediately after the show over at FlagshipPatreon.com, $10 tier to listen to that live. And we always recommend this because we always get people, and we see it. We see when you subscribe, we get the emails. There's always people. We're 5 minutes into the show, and a bunch of people, jump on in, or they sign up at that point, or they upgrade at that point. What did I miss? Just don't worry about it. Just sign up now. $10 tier, FlagshipPatreon.com. Make sure you are ready to go when we go live on Sunday. After AEW Double or Nothing 2025. So, since we're talking about Double or Nothing, let's stick with a show that's going to be happening in the parking lot where Double or Nothing is happening. Dean, the Action ROH, Dean. Now, originally, I don't know if did you follow this? That originally when they announced the show, it had the AEW logo on it, and then the AEW logo got replaced by an ROH logo at some point.
That's true, yes.
Yeah. So, somewhere along the line, they were just like, more of a Ring of Honor show than an AEW show. So, Dean 2, taking place in the parking lot outside the Desert Diamond Arena on May 24th. Now, as far as it's going to be a free show, so if you're in the area, if you're in Phoenix, if you're in Glendale, if you're in the area, you just walk up. It's free. You can just walk up to the parking lot and watch some wrestling on May 24th in the parking lot of the Desert Diamond Arena. As far as streaming, it's kind of up in the air right now.
Okay, so they've been telling people in replies, including on their Twitter account got suspended because of suspicious activity or something, which I don't understand. Like, wouldn't the people who run Twitter want people to tweet a lot from their Twitter accounts? But anyway, I don't understand what that's about. But, and in some of the private replies from, like, I think maybe Phil Schneider's account, they're telling people that it's going to air on the ROH YouTube channel a day or two after. Okay. So you were going to be able to see the show. It's just not going to stream live anywhere.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I get you're doing a show in a parking lot or whatever. Real risky.
I don't have any problem with it because if they can't stream it properly from the parking lot, people are going to be annoyed. It's going to ruin the vibes.
Right.
Put it up the next day. What's the big deal?
Right.
Shoot
it with some nice cameras. Edit it. Put it up the next day.
Get it edited exactly.
Go live to tape. Edit anything that went wrong, and just put it up the next day. Everybody will be fine. Nobody will care.
Make it look pretty. It's an out of canon thing anyway. It's fine. Just it'll be something to watch on Monday, which is fine by me.
As far as the show, it's an interesting one. Obviously, the Dean show. What's the best way to describe it? And we obviously talked about the Dean 1 show last year's WrestleMania weekend, and the vibe of that show, the DVD VR forums, and Dean Rasmussen, who was a longtime member there, longtime wrestling writer, passed away, and it's kind of a tribute show to him, and it's booked kind of for him and in his memory with wrestlers that him and his buddies like. Right? Is that probably the best way to put it?
Yeah, it's their shows booked in Dean Rasmussen's spirit, and like you said, the spirit of him and his friends, the kind of matches and wrestlers that they would want to see. And it's got action wrestling behind it, which is one of the top Southern indies. And obviously it's got, Tony Khan is obviously putting up the money for the show, and it's got the ROH logo attached and some Tony Khan contracted talent on the show as well. And yeah, the first Dean show was very much in the spirit of if DVD VR guys booked a wrestling show in 2024 or 2024, what would it look like? And that's what it looked like. And it's the same thing with this one. If DVD VR guys booked a show with the talent that's available in ROH and action and sort of the Lucha guys they like, what would it look like? And it would look like this.
Right.
So these are interesting one-off shows that always have interesting lineups. I think this lineup is a stronger on-paper lineup than the first Dean. I thought about half of the first Dean show was the stuff that was really good on the first Dean show was really good.
Yeah, that stuff was great. And it was a show that felt like it was from the heart and felt
it was authentic.
Authentic. Authentic is the word that we always use. Yeah.
That's the important thing.
So even if all the matches didn't land, you were like, okay, this feels like a show that's done from the heart and is authentic and has a purpose and a reason why it's booked and a through line through all of it. So you know what? Yeah. So then the last half of the show delivered. And then there's a couple of matches, of course, in that show that were phenomenal. Including maybe one of the matches of the entire weekend with the dog collar match. But yeah, I agree. I think this show top to bottom is a lot better.
It's a stronger show on paper top to bottom than the first Dean show for sure. So I'm trying to pull up the card from last year.
The full card. Yeah.
As I move, hold on. I almost got it. Cause there was, all right, here we go. Would be listed under.
Yeah, if you look up Action Dean, I actually got it here if you need it, but
yeah, well, I want to see it too because
I forgot how many matches were on this show. Holy shit!
Yeah, and a lot of them were, but a lot of them were action wrestling matches, and if you had to be locked into the storylines that were going on in action wrestling, this show isn't really like that. This is more just a lot of out of canon stuff for both ROH and Action.
It doesn't have Cruel and Warhorse in it, so that's always good.
That with the fireballs and everything, that was fine for what it was. But the last year's show, yes, of course, the Mad Dog Connolly Demas dog collar match is the one that everybody talks about. I thought Slim J and Adam Priest was the best match on the show.
I love that match. Yeah, that was awesome.
And I love the dog collar match. I love Slim J, Adam Priest. Makabe Thatcher was okay. Wasn't that the Makabe retirement match, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
And, there was some other stuff. The Dr. Cerebro, Gringo Loco match got a lot of attention. And then the rest of it really was, it was an action wrestling show. Alex Kane versus Colby Corino for the action title. This one isn't going to have the heavy emphasis on action wrestling and their storylines. This is just sort of I hate to use the term super show, but it's like an ROH action wrestling DVD-VR super show.
Right.
That's really what the feel is.
Yeah, it's like if you gave these guys access to the whole world of talent, plus everybody that they would want to book, plus ROH. So yeah, I have a similar thought to you that it's like, yeah, a lot of the undercard of that first Dean, now that I'm looking at it, was, like you said, it was Action Dean. It was very much promoted as Action
wrestling.
Dean. Yeah. So yeah, there was, you had matches with Bobby Flacco and Hoodfoot and Isaiah Bronner and these guys and the Good Hand and Suge D and all. You had these guys all over the place. But yeah, now it's kind of gotten refined a little bit. In a way that
it was, what it was? It was an action show with WrestleMania weekend matches attached.
Right. And that's why it was, that's why it was a 12 match show or whatever. Whereas this one's a little more tight. And yeah, basically just, hey, we have a lot of available talent, so let's book the best available talent that we have, type of thing. And I think it's a really, really fun show. We are getting another dog collar match. This one, I'm really looking forward to this. I love Mad Dog Conley. He's doing dog collar matches all around the country. Anybody that wants to face Mad Dog Conley in a dog collar match can get one. And I've watched a good amount of them, and there's some diminishing returns by doing so many of them. But I will say this one against Adam Priest, that should be fucking awesome. Adam Priest is a great asshole heel that nobody likes. Mad Dog Conley's great at beating guys up and getting bloody and stuff. So definitely have that one circled as a real good contender to be a great match.
It's my dog collar matches are my favorite gimmick matches. They're my favorite stipulation matches. It's hard to miss. The question is, how good will it be? Because it's a fucking dog collar match, and they're both going to bleed buckets, and they're going to beat the shit out of each other with the chain. And Mad Dog Connolly obviously has done like a dozen of these at this point. He knows how to work them. He knows what to do to make them work. And everybody on this show is going to be out to impress. I mean, fucking Tony Khan's going to be watching it. So why wouldn't you go out there and work as hard as possible? So obviously I'm looking forward to that because you could put pretty much anyone in a dog collar match, and I'm going to be interested.
Yeah, for sure. I forgot this was a match on the show. Slim J versus Beast Mortos. That is awesome.
It sounds incredible because
so what a great base and what a great guy to do a bunch of flips onto a great base. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, fuck yeah.
I mean, and like I said, I thought Slim J Adam Priest was the best match on the first show, and Slim J, is a guy where when he's on, I mean, he's as spectacular as anybody. And I don't think that Tony Khan got the most out of him. When he had him.
Definitely not.
And, that split wasn't the most amicable. Slim J had some things to say when he got let go. So it's interesting that he's working another show under the partial Tony Khan umbrella and presumably being paid by Tony Khan again. So, maybe bygones are bygones. It's been a couple years. But, he's a guy who, if you're going to have these Dean shows and Action and the DVD-VR guys are going to have anything to do with it, that's a guy that they're going to book if he's available.
Yeah, for sure.
Slim J is a guy they're going to always have on these shows.
Yeah, I watched a action show recently. It was Alan Angels and Slim J. It was actually pretty decent. Yeah, it was pretty good stuff. Yeah, when Slim J, when he lands, he's pretty fucking phenomenal. Yeah. So, against a great base like Beast Mortos, that sounds right up my alley. This could be up my alley, but might not be. ROH Pure title match, Lee Moriarty versus Matt Mako. He said, I'm no longer Matt Makowski. I'm now Matt Mako. I don't know what okay.
How are we supposed to pronounce it?
I don't know. I guess it was Makowski before, so I'll go Mako. Matt Mako, right?
Macau?
It's not Macau, I don't think, but
Mako.
This is
Mako.
It's not great.
It wasn't Mako. It wasn't Mako. You can't remember. Makoski. It wasn't Makoski.
No, it was Matt Makowski. It was Makowski.
Makowski. So it's Macau.
Macau. This is a bad name.
Stick with Mikowski.
Right. What's wrong with Mikowski? Like, what is this
Nothing's wrong with Mikowski.
I know. He's like, this guy's like from the 1920s. He's like, too Polish. I'm not going to get jobs. You know, it's like, no, it's fine, man. It's 2025. You can be Mikowski. No one cares. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, he's not like at Ellis Island and they're like, no, your name's Mecca. Right. You're not going to get any jobs with that name.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, no, not even like, your name's what? Forget that. It's Mako.
Johnson.
Like, cause they didn't want to try to spell it, you know?
Right.
It's, yeah. So yeah, no, exactly. And if it is a problem, just move to Chicago.
Right. No problem, brother. We'll book you.
Yeah.
Sky Delecki will hook you up with some work, I'm sure. Right. But yeah, so Lee Moriarty versus Matt Mako. Macau.
I'm going to say Mako until I'm corrected.
All right. Yeah, let's go with that. It's ROH Pure title, so it can either land perfectly and I love it, or it's completely off and I'm bored to tears.
That'd be a 3-star match like the rest of it.
Sometimes I love Pure Rules matches. Sometimes I'm just like, that was fucking phenomenal. So you're like in the middle. You're neutral about all of them, right? You're 3 stars with every single one. You just think they're kind of whatever. I'm the opposite. I mean, I think it's like what a great match that was. Phenomenal use of the rules. I love it, or I fucking hate it. I'm bored to tears. I'm never in the middle. I'm always like, I hated it or I loved it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're usually like 3-star matches.
Yeah.
I don't think I really love any of them. There's probably been some that I really liked, but I don't think they're ever terrible either. They're a little dry sometimes.
You just need the right guy. You need the right guy with the right attention to rules and stuff. And Lee, sometimes
I kind of hopped off the Lee Moriarty train a couple of years. Like when he was on the Indies, I was like, all right, I see it. This guy should be major league someday. But I don't know. He just something missing there.
Yeah.
There's something missing there.
Rhino versus one called Manders.
I didn't see that announced. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
But okay.
I think it was a recently added match.
All right,
Let me double check.
That's certainly a match. It's fine. I don't know.
Yeah, here's the graphic. Rhino versus Manders. Yep, it's official. So
there you go.
Josh Woods versus JD Drake. Of course, JD Drake would find his way out of this show. You just knew it.
Oh, of course. Well, this got changed. It was Lawlor versus Woods at first.
Yeah.
Right? And then Lawlor can't work because he's injured. So, yeah, very much a Dean-style match.
Someone brought this up in our chat room. Why is Tom Lawlor managing Josh Woods if he was facing Josh Woods before?
I don't know.
Do we have a story? What's the story? Joe, give me a video package.
Because Drake has Anthony Henry in his corner, so Woods has a guy. Maybe Woods and Lawlor were just going to shake hands and grapple, and it wasn't. You know what I mean? And
it's also possible they could be in a competitive exhibition fight to get to the pay window, and then once Lawlor decided I'm out, he might respect Josh Woods and say, you know what? I'll second you. You need some help.
I'll corner you. Yeah.
I respect you, sir, so I will help you. I don't want Anthony Henry to cheat. I don't want there to be a man advantage on the other side, so I'll help you. Make sure that you get a fair fight here since I couldn't fight you. Makes sense. You have the Coven of the Goats, Jaden Newman and Tank, with the Reverend Dan Wilson versus Arez and Gringo Loco, the Los Desperados. Yeah,
a couple of action regulars, Southern indie regulars versus a couple lucha guys. So, it's the kind of matches they put together for something like this. I thought Tank retired 14 times already. But
he did, but that's all right.
It's wrestling.
It's indie, especially indie wrestling, man. Yeah. I've seen 3 Vic Capri retirement matches, so it's like, you know what I mean? It happens.
Yeah, of course.
And there's probably been more. I just know for a fact I've seen 3 of them. So
Right.
It's like, Terry Funk, when did he first retire? What was it, 1978 or something?
81, I think.
Right. 81. 1981.
Forever.
Yeah. Onita's first retirement match was, 90?
80 something. 88.
Right. Yeah, right. And
then
he had a couple. Yeah,
didn't he retire for injuries? Then he retired to go to the movies. Then he retired again because
I'm thinking of the movies one. That was like
that's 90. The Hayabusa one.
That's so it's like 92, 93, 94, somewhere in that
90,
range, right?
94, 95,
okay.
95 maybe. When that's when he beat Hayabusa, and then Hayabusa became the guy.
Right.
But he retired once before that. Like he retired.
I guess when his knee got fucked, he retired.
Yes, he retired before FMW, and then he retired a million times after. Like,
including very recently, I think he retired, and then nobody even cares anymore. He retires, and people are just like, all right, whatever. You know?
No, he comes back. Like, remember that All Japan run where he was doing exploding barbed wire matches in All Japan like 2 years ago? And they were just mid-card matches before the intermission, and they weren't drawing anything. And it's just,
his presence, like he used to be the biggest star in Japan, and now his presence is like actively annoying. You're just like, oh,
means
God.
nothing, and it's just like, when is this over? Yeah, right. And it doesn't sell a single ticket. Yeah.
How the mighty have fallen. But anyway, that should be a decent match. And then the Cibernetico. Now, a lot of people were worried there was supposed to be a Cibernetico, and then a bunch of people got taken out of the Cibernetico, and everybody thought it was going to not happen. Well, it happens, and it's got some names. You got Averno, Blue Panther, Dr. Cerebro, Volador Jr., Virus. You have to have Virus in there, right? Like, there was no doubt. I could have. He knew, right? He knew long ago he was getting booked for this show. So just put that date off to the side. Valiente, Euphora, Hologram, Neon, and Zula. So that's a Dean. That's it. That's the essence right there.
Did you see they accidentally put up a Euphoria picture with the mask on first?
Oh, no.
It didn't they took it right down and put someone's a fake fanboy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Someone's a fake fanboy. But no, they eventually got the unmasked picture up on the graphic a couple minutes later. And,
that was, September? September last year he lost it, right?
He lost it to Hechicero, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, fake fan, not watching their CMO anniversary. That was the anniversary show,
Whoever's running the socials. But this is a collection of an eclectic group of luchadors. You know, you got Blue Panther and
you got some flyers. You got some fat guys,
Dr. Cerebro and fucking Neon and Hologram in there. It's like. Definitely a mix.
Yeah, and, Virus and Neon being in the same match is very funny, and I enjoy it greatly. Yeah, Hologram and Dr. Cerebro.
Yeah, has Cibernetico ever been in a Cibernetico match?
That's a great question. I bet I can find out. Do you know the answer? Are you trying to quiz me on this?
I don't know the fuck. How would I? Do I look like fucking Dr. Lucha Steve Sims? I mean, how would I know?
Do we know where he is?
I don't know. He retired.
Is he just done?
Lost interest.
Just done. Okay. Oh, fuck. It's going to be impossible to figure out. Let's see here. So we're going to go with Cibernetico.
Yeah, because you can't type that word.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, when you type in Cibernetico into matches, it gives you every, I guess I could do multi-person matches and then do
match constellation?
Yeah, well, you can't.
No, that doesn't work.
No. I'm quickly going through it. So far, no.
It's like 20 pages. You're not going to be able to find it.
I got it, man. I found what you can do is, I'm a master. You go to only multi-person matches in Match Constellation. You go to only multi-person matches.
It down.
Then you do Control F, Cibernetico, and then you just look for where the yellow is. And if it's in the first part of the thing, But from what I can tell, Cibernetico has never been in a Cibernetico. No.
Okay.
Now, I don't know about my man Cibernetico Jr., who I interviewed in early voice.
You didn't interview. You interviewed
Psychedelico. I interviewed
Psychedelico, dude.
Yes.
Come on now.
Psychedelico Jr. What an interview that was. Yeah.
I bet. So that's the Dean show, which we'll all be watching Monday or Tuesday, I guess.
So Brazo Cibernetico has been in several Ciberneticos. Some man named
Mike
Brazo.
Jones?
Brazo Cibernetico Jr. has been in several Ciberneticos. So there you go. He's just some dude. Just some guy. So
yes.
We'll talk about this show next week then, right? We'll watch it whenever it comes up and talk about it next week on the Flagship. So review coming next week at some point. So look forward to that. All right, move on now. Let's go to All Japan Pro Wrestling, the Champion Carnival. We had the finals here of the Champion Carnival. Got down to the semifinals. Now I watched the entire show. You watched the entire show as well, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll focus on the there's a cat that walks by. There's a stray cat that walks by every single night at the exact same time, and I only notice it because I'm only up at at this witch's hour 10 p.m. I only up
Rich,
when I do these shows.
It's
10:08. I know, and the cat always walks by at 10:05, and the cat's outside my window right now. So hello.
Ungodly out. Like the West Coast baseball games haven't started yet, and you're worried about.
It's why I could never watch the end of any of these NBA games. I'm watching it right now, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Like I had to stay up to watch the end of the Pacers Knicks. I was like, I gotta stay up. Yeah, I was fighting it a little bit, but then it got exciting.
Are you Chris Mad Dog Russo? What's wrong with you?
Right. These games are not doing it. The game starts at 7 p.m. tip, and I'm upset about it.
Watch the fucking game. Jeez.
Yeah. Anyway. So sorry, distracted by the cat. But we had 3 Champion Carnival matches here.
Let the cat in. Let the cat in.
No, it's a stray cat who wants to be outside. I know where it lives. It lives down the block from me. It's doing its rounds. And every night I know every Thursday it comes at 10:05. It may come every night at 10:05, but I have these lights. that turn on, and then it gets spooked and it looks at me and just like, oh, what's up?
Has it got balls? Is it a male or female?
I believe it is a female cat, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
Right.
I've never I guess you know what? I shouldn't say that. I don't know for sure. I've never checked.
Let him in.
Nah, it doesn't want to be in.
Maybe
it's
he
an
wants
outdoor
to be
cat.
in.
Nah, it's an outdoor cat, man.
Feral?
It's not. It seems well kept. I don't think it's feral. I don't know. It's because feral would indicate that it's got some.
Lives outside. That's all that means.
Is that all that means? Okay, well then it's probably a feral cat. Yeah.
What else would it be?
I mean, I know where it lives, so it must go in the house sometimes. It looks very well manicured and very well fed. It's a very fat cat, so he just likes to roam the streets. I don't know.
You sure it's a cat, not like a cougar?
No. We have some possums from time to time, but no, I'm positive it's a cat. It's like a little white cat, so a white and black cat. I saw it. I was walking the dogs today, and I saw it. It was rolling in the grass as we walked by, and I was like, "I'll see you later." And sure enough.
All right, so maybe it's a stray and not a feral.
No, it's not stray though. I know where it lives. So that would make it a feral cat then.
Well, no, a feral. All right, so it says
it's
feral.
owned. I know for a fact it's owned by a person.
Here's the definition of a feral cat.
All right, what do you got?
Feral describes something wild, untamed, and often savage, especially in relation.
This thing is not savage,
especially in relation to animals that have been reverted to a wild state and are not domesticated. So
okay, this is a very domesticated cat. It's just
probably not a There's this illustration
of what a feral cat looks like,
and it I really hope that's not the cat outside of. Let me see if I can find you. If I can get you this this illustration of the feral cat. There ain't no way. This thing looks like Church from Pet Sematary. hold on.
What are you gonna do? How are you gonna send this thing? Let's see.
Hold on. I gotta see if I can get a link to the feral cat. Okay, I'm gonna give you the link to the site. Hold on. Where are we here? This.
Is it the Shutterstock? Is it the Shutterstock feral cat?
No. Hold on. I'll send it to in the Slack here.
All right.
So open up that link, but scroll down to the last 2 illustrations and look at the feral cat.
Okay. I'll put it in the YouTube chat room for you everybody as well. So let's see here.
Not that first feral. That last motherfucker. You see him on the bottom there?
Oh my god, that's a bobcat. That's a bobcat.
Look at that thing.
That thing's a monster, yeah.
That thing crawled out of the ground in front of Fred Gwynn. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Look at that fucking thing.
No, that is not what is at my house. No.
That's not what's at your house.
No.
Okay. All right.
Mine looks very similar to honestly, it looks very similar to the body language. Under the header body language, it looks like that cat. But I don't think it's feral though.
Look at the feral cat in the cage on that page.
I know, that one does not look good either. It's got a hunchback.
He looks depressed as hell. Look at that guy.
Get that thing out of there, yeah.
He's like, ugh. Look at him.
Well, it's feral. It doesn't want to be in a fucking cage.
No, he's been through it, that guy.
Yeah.
That guy
He's seen some shit. Yeah, he's seen some shit.
I mean, he is, absolutely.
Alleycat.org. I love how that's allycatch.org, yeah.
This guy here in the cage, he has impregnated several other cats.
Oh, yeah. Half the city is his He's the Genghis Khan of his city for sure. Like,
but that one at the bottom. Look, I gotta tell you,
that's a bobcat. That's not a. That if I see that, I'm running.
Even that stray cat is no picnic.
Look at the stray cat. Yeah.
Look at the fangs on that guy. The orange guy.
He's built too. He's strong. He looks like Mike D. He's a strong cat.
Yeah, he's no joke either. Look at that guy. But I guess that's a feral cat under fear, I guess.
Okay.
So that's the deal. See, that first feral cat is very deceptive. That on the top
because that's what mine looks like. Mine, like I walk by and it just kind of rolls in the grass and it's like, "Hello, how are you doing?" And then
but you see, if you make him anxious, he's gonna look like that dude on the bottom from Pet Sematary.
I'm not gonna fuck with him then. I'll let him do his thing. So,
well, it's like, so I don't know if this is a feral cat that we're dealing with, or
I think it's just an outside, what people would call an outside cat,
a stray. Cat?
It's not a stray. I think it's an outdoor cat. You know what I mean? Like.
So someone owns it.
I think so. Yeah, that's what I said. Like I know the house where it emanates from. I know for sure.
Okay. Remember the Stray Cats, the Brian Setzer band Stray Cats?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
The swing revival.
Awful.
What a terrible era of music.
Terrible idea that was.
Why did we even need swing back? Who asked for that? Who said in 1999 we need swing again? And it's like, no, we don't.
You know what we need? We need to find a guy who can play a stand-up cello. That's what we need.
No, we don't.
No one needs a stand-up cello. If there's a stand-up cello and a guy strumming it and bobbing his head, I'm out. I'm out. No thanks. Boom, 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 boom. None of that.
Someone's going to correct me. I'm aware the Stray Cats were a band. I'm talking about the swing revival of the 90s. I know the Stray Cats were.
They always got to correct. The chat loves to correct shit.
I know.
That's
I'm talking about the 1997 to 1999 swing revival that occurred. That nobody wanted and came and it left, and we were all like, thank God that's over.
Stray Cats were like 10 years earlier.
Right. They were the 70s or something like that. But
yeah.
The swing revival of like Zoot Suit Riot is like the classic. The cherry poppin' daddies. Like, get the fuck out of here. Go away.
What an awful song. What an awful song.
What happened? Why? It's like March 1997. I'm trying to listen to like LL Cool J, and then the fucking cherry poppin' daddies are on. I'm like, what is this? Get this.
I want Riot. Get the fuck out of here.
So bad.
The fuck out of here with that shit.
And then it came and it went. And then nobody thought about it ever again.
No one thought about it ever. And we're embarrassed.
Right. That anybody decided a swing revival had to happen.
Imagine cranking that in the car at a red light with your windows down. Right. And how humiliating that must have been. I mean, just awful.
The Gap commercials. Eric Davis bringing up the Gap commercials with Zoot Suit Riot. And the cherry poppin' daddies. Fuck off.
Cherry poppin' daddies.
Awful. Jordan says, Rich not a fan of Mambo No. 5. Now, I don't know if I'm counting Mambo No. 5 as a part of the swing revolution.
It's kind of the same shit.
Damn it. All right. Well, I like Mambo No. 5.
It's kind of the same shit. He just says a bunch of women's names. And then
it's slick.
Yeah.
I guess it's definitely part of the.
It sounds the sick.
I feel like that's more like more Latin dance pop
a Latin
or whatever.
Flair for sure, but it's a derivative.
Yeah,
it's a derivative.
Because we also had that. We had the Latin explosion there for a couple years too, with Iglesias, and I think Lou Bega was trying to.
Kind.
Yeah, he was German, so I think that's probably an issue. So,
he wasn't that kind of music. He was closer to.
Yeah, he was closer to the. All right,
swing bullshit. The squirrel nut zippers and that kind of shit.
The Mighty Boss Stones. Get the fuck. Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Get the fuck out of here.
All that
all
junk.
of you.
Real Big Fish. Weren't they another
Super Bowl, for God's sakes. I think Big Bad Voodoo Daddies played a Super Bowl halftime. What did we do? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Why were we doing this?
I don't know, man.
Who asked for any of that?
Someone asked for it. They were fucking selling all kinds of records.
Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Real Big Fish.
Real Big Fish. Fuck off. The 1999 Super Bowl halftime show was fucking the Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. What are we doing here? God, swing revival. What a disaster. Anyway, I don't know how the All Japan. We went to the Stray Cats. That's how we did it. Okay. Champion Carnival. Let's finally get to it here. I'm going to talk about the Champion Carnival matches, then we'll talk about the rest of the show. So we start off with our first Champion Carnival semifinal was Kento Miyahara defeating Ryuki Honda to move on to the finals. Whatever. I don't know. I didn't have any strong thoughts about this match. I don't know if you did. Kento got the win, beat Ryuki Honda. I don't know. I'll never think about this match ever again.
You're talking about the first semifinal
Kento
match?
and Honda, yeah.
It was short and hot, And I thought that, honestly, I thought it was one of it's probably like the second best match on the show. If unless you're going to surprise me with something later.
I think I am.
I think we probably both have the same best match on the show, but I don't know. Anyway, I thought it was interesting that Kento beat him with like a crucifix roll up instead of him with the straight jacket German, because Honda did pick up a bunch of big wins in the carnival itself. And then he didn't get like murked out with Miyahara's finish. So maybe they've got some plans for Honda here moving forward.
I did note that too. Yeah, that it was like the way the finish happened. It was like they were exchanging a bunch of quick pinfalls or whatever. And then Kento just caught him in the crucifix pin 1, 2, 3, and Honda was like, "Oh fuck, I got caught." And, so yeah, you're right. It wasn't a definitive. Kento put him in the straitjacket, put his ass on the ground, and it was over. So I think there's that. That's definitely notable for sure. So the best match of the night that we both agree upon is Rai Saito and Hideki Suzuki. Joe, I am a Hideki Suzuki pervert now. I've joined you.
You after he gets knocked out in 90 seconds?
Yes, it rocked. I love this match so much. I am now going to send death threats to myself because I'm a Hideki Suzuki pervert, finally. I love this match because the bell rang. Hideki doesn't get paid by the hour. So he's like, I'm fucking going for this guy. And these guys, Hideki's punching. Saito's just clubbing him like a fucking bear. And then eventually Saito just beats his ass and KOs him, and it's over. And Hideki's like, all right, well, I fucking lost 1 minute, 50 seconds. But the only chance I had was to get aggressive at the bell, and I did. And then it didn't work out for me. Race. I love this match. I love minute 50, bell ring, guys clubbing each other, guy loses, guy wins. That it worked for me. I'll tell you that.
This is not your big communist brothers, Hideki Suzuki.
It's certainly not. No,
because he's doing jobs. He's losing by knockout in a minute and a half. He's what happened? He getting sent to the performance center was the best thing that ever happened to this guy.
It humbled him. Yeah, it humbled the man.
Yeah, he comes back. What was his name? Hachi or Hatchet Man? Hachi Man? Or
oh my God! Yeah, Hachi.
Hachi Man.
Yeah, Hachi Man. Hachi Man. Right? Wasn't it just Hachi Man?
Yeah, Hachi Man comes back from the Diamond Exchange or whatever that was called. No, that was DDP's
the Diamond
group.
Mine.
Diamond
Mine. Yeah, Hachi Man and the Diamond Mine. What the fuck?
And all of a sudden he's Mr. Humble. He's willing to do business with anyone. He's willing to get knocked out by a non-shoot fighter in Rai Saito in under fucking 2 minutes. So look, they just wanted to burn through these two semifinal matches as quickly as possible and then and get on with the rest of the show. But we should note too, 2280 in the Ota City Gym for this final. This was the best attendance that they've had in that building, and they run it about twice a year since Champion Carnival Night 10 in 2023 when they drew 2437. And the main event of that match, I was stunned when I scrolled down. I'm like, oh, okay, that drew 2430. Shotaro Ashino versus T-Hawk in the Carnival. But it was,
of course,
but it was the Carnival final, to be fair.
Okay.
So that means the tickets were likely sold. Well, a lot of the tickets were likely sold before people knew what the final was going to be. But that was the year Ashino won the Carnival, and that Carnival final, which is a head-to-head comp with this one, right? Like, drew 2437. The Carnival final in 2024 was not held in this building. They did run the building in 2024, though. They drew a little over 2,000 fans for a Yuma Anzai Triple Crown match against Katsu. The one where he beat Nakajima was in this building. So that drew a little over 2,000. But yeah, this was the best attendance in this building since the Carnival final in 2023.
All right, so that's notable. That's notable for sure. Yeah. It speaks to the Saito, their drawing power, and that gets us to the main event here, where Rai Saito defeats Rai Saito. Is it Rai or Rai? I always forget. I'm going
Saito number 2.
Saito number 2 defeats Kento Miyahara to win the Champion Carnival here in 2025. I like this match. I didn't love this match. I thought it was
that's fine.
It was just fine, and that's kind of the problem with the Saitos, particularly this one. Saito number 2 is.
So what the fuck was the second best match on the show? I thought you were going here with that.
No, I got another. Well,
the tag, I guess. Ali is your tag.
So what? We're debating the best match on the show or the second best match on the show?
No, second best match on the show.
So I didn't think Kento and Honda was the best match on the show.
Oh, you think Kento Miyahara? Oh, I have a surprise best match on the show then.
Well, then I do too, maybe. What's your
You
favorite?
just said it was Kento and then Ryuki Honda.
No, I said it. I thought that was yours. No. You said. Oh no, you said that was your second best.
I thought you said I'm all right, Spider. Listen, I said Kento Miyahara and Ryuki Honda was the second best match on the show. You said, I don't know, and I'm like, oh, you must have a surprise second best match on the show. Because I would think we have the same best match of the show.
I think we have the same best. I think we might have we do have a different second best match. I got you.
So you think Kento and Honda is the best match on the show?
I do not.
Oh my God. This is who's on first all over again. This is...
we haven't talked about my favorite match of the night
this
yet.
Fucking Abbott and Costello routine we're doing
I haven't talked about my best match of the night so far. I joked that it was Saito and Suzuki, but I was just joshing with you. That is not my favorite match on the show. I have another one. We got it. All we're there. We're good. We got it. I understand you. I don't know if you understand me, but we're fine. It's okay.
Let's go fuck yourself, Tommy. All right, let's continue.
All right. So, do you have anything else on this final? Obviously, Saito wins. They do the classic when Kento loses finish where it's the same way he lost to Saito number 1 was he goes to the straitjacket German. He can't get it. The whole match is about trying all his might to try to get the straitjacket German, can never do it. Saito just, elbows him in the back and hits him with another barbecue bomb or whatever, and that's it. You know what I mean? Is it called the BBQ bomb? I think is what the move is, right?
Yeah, I think
it is. No, I think the move is called the BBQ bomb.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Take my word for it. I'm pretty sure it's the BBQ bomb, but that's sort of because he does it. So they did a match where they kicked out of a bunch. Like Kento survived a bunch of these BBQ bombs, and Saito, kept kicking out of whatever Kento was doing, but Kento could never quite get that straitjacket German on him, and then obviously, he goes for it one too many times. Saito, elbows him, does the BBQ bomb one more time, and pins Kento Miyahara to set up a match against his brother. But this match itself, I don't have any I don't think we're going to be here breaking this match down for 15 minutes. It just wasn't, it was whatever. It was 25 minutes and Saito won.
Yeah, thought it was fine. I mean, I thought you summed it up well. I have nothing else to add. I have nothing else to add.
Thoughts on going Saito versus Saito in the future. Now that could be a rough match, but it's probably going to draw pretty well given these guys' history.
This is what they've built the promotion around, and that's what they're doing right now. It's all in on the Saitos. So they've had singles matches. They've never had a Triple Crown match. So it's unique from that standpoint. They'll put it in one of the larger buildings that they run. I think Sendai Sun Plaza.
I think it's announced. Yeah, because they're from Sendai, I want to say. So let me get the date for sure. June 1st in Sendai, and that's their hometown. So
yeah,
that should be big.
It's an even bigger building than this one. And they're going to try to let me see the last time they ran the Sendai Sun Plaza. That'd be interesting.
Now, I don't know if it's for sure in the Sendai Sun Plaza. Let me try to see if I can confirm that. Just got to go to All Japan's website. Usually pretty good.
Where else would it be? You
got to translate it. Well, it's not on a cage match or anything like that. For like future events, yeah.
Well, while you're looking that up, they ran it last year and drew 1,503 fans for Yuma Anzai against Saito number 2 in a Triple Crown match.
Okay.
So this becomes the Saito number 2 Triple Crown building, the Sendai Sun Plaza. And they didn't run it. The last time they ran it previous to that was before the pandemic in 2018, where they drew 1,290 fans for a carnival show. So,
Sendai Sun Plaza Hall for this show.
Yeah. So they're going to expect that match to draw because it's one of the bigger buildings that they run. They don't run gigantic buildings in All Japan these days. So
we have a pretty full card too. I'll get the rest of the card here in a minute.
Let's do this first.
Yeah. But we got the full card there, which is nice. All right, so let's do the rest of the show then. So Saito wins the Champion Carnival 2025, faces off with his brother on June 1st. So we'll do the rest of the show now. Did you watch the pre-show match between the two young guys here?
You bet your ass I did.
Yeah, it was good.
That's the kind of shit that I dig my teeth at. Listen, these two guys are small. I don't
they're
know
tiny. Yeah, they're tiny.
I don't know
dudes.
if they're going to be heavyweights, but Nagao I've seen a few times, and this Shota Kafuji. They went out there and worked hard, and I love these young boy matches in all of these promotions. They're a lot of times on the New Japan shows. It's like my third or fourth favorite match on the whole show, even some of the bigger shows, because it's just no nonsense wrestling and guys trying hard. And this was no exception. I really enjoyed this for what it was, for the 4 or 5 minutes that they had them out there.
Yeah, they got good fire. And like you said, I think one of the issues with All Japan right now is there's a lot of kind of geeks on this roster, and these guys they don't feel like geeks right now. And obviously they don't treat nowhere in Japan are you going to watch young.
I just think they're going to be juniors.
Yeah, they're just going to be juniors, and that's the issue. They don't look like geeks, but they're probably just going to be juniors because they're tiny little boys. So, but they're fun, good energy. Decent little match, so I enjoyed that one. And then we got to the portion of the show that I did not enjoy very much at all. These endless, they're not that endless. Well, one of them was fucking endless. But then we had the 8-man tags. It was Kengo Mishimo and Kakuta, Tachibana, Kondo versus Aoyagi, David Whitman Jr., Ren and Abe, and Inoue. And this was just kind of, what's funny is Kakuta is like the most serious guy in All Japan right now, and he's the Dragon Gate guy. You know what I mean? You would think that would be the guy who'd be a little goofy, but this match was filled with a bunch of goofballs, and then Kakuta, who's just out there trying to just beat guys' asses. And I was like, yeah, maybe Kakuta should stay. Maybe we can keep him here in All Japan for a little bit longer. But obviously, Carnival's done. He's back to Japan for him. But I don't know. I have no strong thoughts about this match.
I was watching this match, and I was thinking to myself, would a heel turn do Ren Ayabe some good? Because you're laughing, but I
nothing
thought
will do him any good.
For like the first time ever, he showed a little bit of fire and spark when he was throwing. Yeah, when he was throwing like forearms at Kakuta in this one, and maybe a heel turn and a little heel run would light a fire under him or something. But look, a lot of the better workers on the show, I thought Kakuta had a really good tour. And, I was just thinking about watching this when Ayabe was actually, he didn't have that expressionless face on his face for once. And he was no-selling some shit and actually almost resembling someone tough. So I was like, maybe a heel turn would work, but doesn't sound like you're buying it.
I'm not quite there yet. You'll have to sell me a little bit more, but
well, I'm not going to sell very hard. I mean,
it wasn't the hardest sell. I will admit.
If I was, so the last time I'm ever going to bring it up, so it's now or never, bud, to weigh in on this one.
Yeah,
but it's
no, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
All right, fair. Let's move on.
And for that reason, I'm out. But Kakuta was really good in this match, and kind of wish he would hang around for All Japan for a little bit longer. But then we had this match, which was 15 minutes and 35 seconds for the All Japan TV 6-man tag team titles, and this was just Omori,
Hokuto a lot of dumb
stinks.
comedy.
Kumarashi, Yoshida stinks. Abe.
It was a lot of really bad comedy.
Yeah.
And I was stunned that they did a title change because I thought they were going to send Yoshida back to his home planet or whatever. But they did a fucking title change and put it on Hokuto Gun and whatever. It's just the stupid 6-man titles. Yeah. It's not like it matters or anything like that. But I guess we're not done with Yoshida in All Japan for now. And
I'd like to be done with Yoshida if possible.
Well, doesn't Dragon Gate want him back?
I mean, they should take him back. Well, I don't want Dragon Gate to have him either. I don't want anybody to have him. Send him to fucking Big Japan or something. I don't care. Somewhere I don't watch. So.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it's actually Fuminori Abe who's done for now with All Japan since
he's announced on the Sendai Sun Plaza show.
Oh, all right, so. Good.
So we just had to move the titles to. Actually, in fact, I don't know if.
Well, there's an upside to this. If you're going to put these titles that nobody cares about on Hokuto Gun, then that puts all those guys in one match on these shows now, right? So we don't have to have
You're right.
So there is.
You got to look at the bright side. Yeah. Hokuto Mori, man, I'm so disappointed that he's just turned into a dork.
One of my least favorite wrestlers in the world to watch.
There was a time where I was like, there's a path, but now he's just a dork. So he's too young to already be like I'm just a shitty dork.
Well, here's the thing, Rich. I watch a little more All Japan than you. It's like a fucking tongue-in-cheek comedy promotion.
Yeah.
It really is. There's a lot of goofy bullshit in All Japan these days, and it's up and down the card. So I don't know. Japan is in a dire state overall.
It's disappointing for sure.
It's not great.
We had another 6-man tag, and then we'll finally get to the business end of the show here. Dan Tamura, not much business, but 2 matches at least. Dan Tamura, Ashino, and Zion defeated these Saito brothers, Jun Saito, Naruki Doi, and Senior Saito. And after the match, Ashino and Zion pledged that they are going to be a team moving forward.
Yeah, Zion scored the pin.
Why? Who
I'm like, I thought we're getting rid of this guy.
Send this guy back.
He's staying.
Oh,
He scores the pin. They're setting up storylines.
I know. They're in the ring talking about how they're going to be a team moving forward. I'm like, no, Ashino, what are you doing, dude?
How about Ashino and Dan Tamura? Right. That's a team I'd like to see.
Yeah, I'll set my watch to that for sure.
Yeah, I want to see Dan Tamura. That guy he's got his black tights and his bad haircut and his bad attitude.
Real bad haircut. That's a bad haircut.
Yeah, and a bad attitude and his burly chest. And I just want to see that guy beat people up.
His bad bangs.
His stupid bangs, his Morishima bangs. And that's a guy, but they don't do nothing with him.
No.
So, well, you're going to get more Zion, who was awful on the tour. So
yeah, awful in this match too.
To
Zion stinks. All right, so now we go to my second favorite match of the entire show, Joe, the All Asia Tag Team title match, Rising Hayato and Yuma Anzai versus we'll talk about them here in a little bit, but not long for this world, Angle Blanc and Mike DiVecchio. Okay.
Yeah.
This was chaotic.
It was chaotic.
In a lot of ways.
Well, that's what you're going to get with Angel Blanc and Mike DiVecchio.
Yeah, so Blanc botched like 16 things in this match. Like every time he tried to springboard, he fucked it up.
Yes.
And Mike fucked up a lot of stuff too. But Mike, when he does it, it's enduring. It's endearing, and it's just, I fucking love the guy, and I'm so sad about the news that we're going to talk about a little bit later.
Well, you knew that was coming. I've been warning you for weeks.
It was so obvious. Yeah, when you see him, you're like, "Fuck, this dude." Yeah, he's definitely gone. But the chaotic nature of these guys teaming together, it actually kind of rocks, because it's like these guys have nothing in common. You know what I mean? There's no reason these men should ever talk outside of outside of a wrestling ring. The one guy's a big fucking brick shithouse with tattoos and just screams and yells and spits every time he's done slamming a guy in the mat. And the other guy's this dainty little guy with a mask, and he's pale, and he does these, flippy doos or whatever. But it kind of works. The combination of them works. And I thought Anzai and Hayato were great in this match too, taking the abuse and getting tossed around by Mike DiVecchio. And I thought this, it was chaotic in all the right ways. Now, it wasn't crisp, it wasn't perfect, but it was the right kind of chaos and a bunch of really cool near falls. And Hayato and Anzai obviously get the win. They defeat Blanc and Mike DiVecchio, and DiVecchio gets some sort of injury. He looks like he hurt his knee at some point during the match, but I didn't catch how he hurt his knee. I just saw him grabbing at his knee at one point.
Yeah, and I didn't go back to try to find it, but I think Hayato and Anzai have had a good run with these titles. I'm not surprised at all that WWE did in fact sign Mike D. I guess we'll save that for another segment. But that'll be the end of Blanc and Mike D in All Japan. And this All Asia title moves. The match was, again, it was sloppy and it was messy. But it was fun to watch, because no matter how much Blanc and Mike D fuck up, they're fun to watch. There's something different.
Right. Yeah, it was it was a lot of fuck ups, but done in a good way, because it kind of
was messy during the tournament too, though.
Right. It led to that's kind of what. Yeah, I'm fine with that too. There's a way to be messy. We talked about it for 3 hours last week. There's a way to be messy and make it work, where you don't freeze up and you don't stop, you don't go back. You just like, fucked up, whatever. Who cares? Move on to the next thing. And that it kind of worked for the chaotic nature that these guys had in this match too. It was like, oh, you tried that, didn't work. Fuck it. Well, Mike D, like Blanc would try something, fuck up, and Mike D would just grab a guy and power slam him. He's like, that's fine, I got him. You know what I mean? It's like, don't worry about it, I got him, and he just slam him or whatever. So it ended up working. But a sloppy little match, but one that I liked. And then I believe the match that you and I both agree, right? Match of the night. Was Musashi versus Seki Yoshioka for the junior title. And this, boy, I went in thinking like, it'll be a decent match, and they went out here and fucking tore the house down, man. This was a great match.
Yeah, by far the best match on the show. So, A lot of intensity, great work. I have no complaints. Easy notebook match. And nothing else on the show really approached it, honestly. There were a couple other matches that were, a little better than average. I mean, Miyahara Honda, I'd go maybe 3.25 if I'm being super generous. The All Asia tag was a little too messy. It wasn't exactly Can-Am Express out there against
certainly not
Kikuchi, but the Champion Carnival final was just kind of a match. So yeah, and they got the crowd. The crowd was really into this too, and we're buying everything that they were selling in this. So Yoshioka wins the title, and we've got a new All Japan Junior Champion.
I love his finish. He sets up for like the Styles Clash and then just does like a power bomb out of it.
Yeah, I think it will be his first reign too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow!
So, I don't think he's ever held this title.
Let me see, it seems.
I would bet my life on that. Yeah, I don't think he's ever held it.
No, you're right, man. First time. Because he was
I probably shouldn't bet my life on something like that. But
on stuff like that. But yeah, I forget because he's been bouncing around all over the place. He's been in Wrestle 1 and GHC. Sorry for the coughing, by the way.
Yeah.
Trying to do it. But yeah, 0-1 and stuff. So he's been all over the place. So that makes sense.
Noah for a while, I think.
And,
yeah. So, we'll see how he does with the belt. I mean, this was a excellent match.
Yeah, this was super crisp. Like the opposite of what I mentioned that the tag match was a chaotic, but fun chaotic. This was crisp and tight and like reversals and counters. And then they just beat the shit out of each other too. There was also that point too. And they're former tag team partners too. And they're buddies. And there's always that thing that if you're facing your buddy, you're facing your tag team partner, you're going to be a little more snug. And you could feel that in this match, man. Like you've been talking about, I want guys that just go out there and beat people's asses in Japan, and that was what these guys were really on this night. They just kind of clubbed each other. This is a junior match, but it wasn't not a lot of flippy doos either. It was just kind of reversals and counters.
They were guys that they lost the All Asia titles to Hayato and Anzai.
Right.
So they had that pretty substantial reign with the All Asia titles on the back half of last year. So and then now this was again the former tag partners for the singles title. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. So Yoshioka wins the match, and then after the match, Dan Tamura with his bad bangs and his bad haircut comes out and challenges him.
Let's fucking go. Now, he has held that title.
He has. And that...
is he even a junior anymore? He's a thick guy.
I was going to say, put that man on a scale. I want to put that man on a scale.
This is the Luke Jacobs. This is the Luke Jacobs thing here where it's
I don't know.
What are we doing? Remember like in... I guess it would have been 2008 or something. Remember when Keiji Muto was like, he had to, they were making him step on a scale before because he was doing the junior matches. Do you remember that gimmick or no?
I do remember that a little bit. Yeah.
And they were like, no, you got to get on the scale, sir. We're not sure you qualify for the weight. And like, that was the whole thing with him doing the junior matches. They got to get Dan Tamura on a fucking scale. I don't buy it.
Yeah. Cause what did they say here? So I'm looking at his player profile on All Japan. So let's see what they say his height and weight is. So they say he's 5'6", he's 173 centimeters, so about 5'6", 5'7", right, somewhere in that range. And they say he's 83 kilograms. They say he's 182. I guess at 5'6".
At 5'6", maybe.
I feel like he's taller than 5'6", though, but maybe not.
He's a beefy boy.
He's kind of beefy. I would, if I was Yoshioka, I would ask for a weigh-in before the match.
What's the cutoff on these kilograms?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess what's the cutoff on the All Japan Junior title? Yeah, I don't know if they say what's the official junior title kilogram limit or whatever. Because
talking kilos like we're Pablo Escobar over here.
Right. So their junior tag league is for 100. Okay, under 100 kilograms.
Okay, well then 83 would clear it pretty easily.
Yeah, he's pretty easily under that then.
All right. I guess.
He's thick though. He's a very thick boy. He definitely is a thick guy. So yeah. I see. For a heel gimmick, I would just have him step on the scale anyway, just to make sure.
100 kilograms would be 220.
Yeah, that's a pretty big wiggle room there.
He's probably not 220.
God, how many people in Japan are over 220 at this point? You know what I mean? Like,
and you're right. I mean, all right, I'll stand down. He's probably not 220. But they got to lower it now.
I would say this isn't 1983 anymore. I mean, the 220 is pretty.
I mean, all these guys are tiny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whatever.
We got to have maybe we got to make a big boy title in every company. You know what I mean? Not the heavyweight. It's got to be just be thick boys or whatever, because make heavyweight of whatever.
Change the name of it or just add a new title for guys that are like Dan Tamura, where they're under the weight limit, but they're also like fat guys.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I know technically you're a junior, but you're kind of fat, so we're gonna put
like the idea of a junior should be svelte and fly around and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
not just this guy, this short
Tamura.
fat guy is a junior technically by a technicality, but he's not really in the essence of what you think of a junior. Yeah, I would not think of.
He's not even really a power junior like classic. I guess you would like a Suji Kondo in his prime or something.
Right.
Like, he's not even that. He's just like a chubby guy.
Yeah. I just want chubby guys to get their love, so maybe a new title for the chubby guys. Dance more. But anyway, he is going to be facing off for the junior title. That'll be at the Sendai show as well. You have the Saito versus Saito in the main event there in the Triple Crown heavyweight title match. You have Kento and Yuma Aoyagi defending their titles against Satoru Ashino and Zion. Zion got the win, and they're going for the straps, man. It makes a little motion, makes the title motion. Round my waist.
Put out for him with Zion in there. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Then the rest of the show is just a bunch of tags, including an absolutely awful. You cannot skip this match faster. Davey Boy Smith Jr. teaming with Kuroshiro, Tokyo, Japan. Fuck off.
Oh, fuck off.
Against Jack Kennedy and Aizawa number 1. I don't think I've ever seen Aizawa number 1, but it looks like a dumb gimmick. So
Jack Kennedy.
You, sir, are not Jack Kennedy.
You are no Jack Kennedy. I was friends with Jack Kennedy.
Vince McMahon, very
Vince McMahon and Admiral Benson, very much
2 peas in a pod. Yeah,
Lloyd Benson. Yeah, I don't want to watch Davey Boy Smith Jr. team with Jacket Guy. I don't want to do that.
No, that sounds brutal.
There's only 2 matches of consequence on that whole show. Tag
3 technically. 3 with the junior. You got Dan Tamura and Yoshioka.
Oh, right. We talked about that already.
The tag match and then the Triple Crown. The rest is just kind of junk. It's just
multi-man tag.
Yeah, just multi-man tag. Throwing the rest of the guys.
That's kind of brave for the big building. They're really counting on. They didn't even bring in like any ringers to hope like anyone from Outsiders or anything. Nothing like that. I know they can't really afford it.
Yeah, I don't think they can afford anybody. I'm looking. Yeah, no, not really. No. Okay. What about your boy Hideki against? Let's see, he's against a young guy, Nagao. I think he's against that Nagao guy. Think he'll drop.
They're doing a singles match.
Singles match, yeah. Opener Hideki Suzuki versus Taishin Nagao.
That's he's gonna beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, exactly. We're perfect.
Why didn't you mention that?
I just noticed it. I didn't scroll all the way to the bottom. Well, I looked and I saw the 2 guys and I thought it was because it was just like it's 2 like pale. It's just like pale dudes in the bottom picture, and I'm like, oh my god, that pale guy's Hideki Suzuki. I didn't even realize. I thought it was just the other guy. I thought it was what's his face that we just talked about,
boy or something.
Yeah, Kafuji or whatever. I just thought it was Kafuji, but it's not.
Hachi Man's gonna mutilate that guy.
Yeah, you will. He's gonna lose.
Anyway.
You think he's gonna lose?
What?
No, probably not gonna lose.
I hope he takes his face. I hope he does the spot where he takes his 5-arm and rubs his face into the mat, like with his 5-arm. Like, I hope he gets stuff like that. And he stretches them. But the thing is, like, I don't know. Maybe he won't be into it. Like, Katsuyori Shibata in his prime would have destroyed that kid, like, within an inch of his life. You know what I mean? I don't know if Hideki Suzuki is going to have that kind of energy.
Like Big Mouth Loud era Shibata, you're thinking?
Right. Or when New Japan would book him against young boys. Remember? And he would come right in, fucking kill him, and then go right out, like, march right out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Hideki Suzuki is going to have that kind of energy in that match. He might just go in there and grapple with him or something. But the thing is, he's going to be 4 times his size. Like,
yeah, he's going to. No, he's going to tiny kid. He's going to fucking kill him. He's going to absolutely.
And he's like one of the biggest guys in Japan. Like,
yeah.
Hideki Suzuki's a big guy. You know, like a legit 6'2", 6'3", right? And stocky, like 230 or something.
You're selling yourself out. Hideki. We're all in.
He's always been a big guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's like
strap him up.
He could really have an interesting squash match with that kid if he really wants to. Mm-hmm. But I never know what's in that man's head.
You can't
get
never tell.
Into the head of a Hideki Suzuki.
It's very dangerous to try to get in that mind too.
Right. It's like being John Malkovich. You go in the portal into Hideki Suzuki's head, That's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get in there. You don't know if you're going to be able to come out. So you want to be careful for sure. But there you go. That is the update. Latest on All Japan Pro Wrestling. Let's do this. We'll do a free agent news, and then we'll close out with Noah here. Free agent news, since we just talked about it. Mike DiVecchio and Blanc, they're out. First reported by Aiden Gibbons of Cultaholic. WWE is expected to sign both men to developmental contracts. I love the term developmental contracts, like it's OVW in 2004, but they are on track to start with WWE in September. So quite a ways away until they're coming, but looks like that was confirmed by Fightful as well. Fightful did also report that Josiah, this one does pain me, that Josiah is expected to sign a quote developmental contract, also arriving to WWE in September.
I mean, we called that as soon as we saw it. Yeah. We're like, okay, he's going to be on TV.
Yeah,
like that was an easy one too. The speculation is that they're gearing up for NXT Europe with all these people. So obviously nobody wants to see that. That's going to be nothing but bad news for the European scene, which is still trying to get back on its feet. But that's what WWE does.
Right.
So, what are you going to do? Nothing you can do.
Yeah. Welcome to history. You're living it again. We lived it not that long ago, and we're going to live it again. So we lived it 7 years ago.
And three guys who really made a name for themselves over the last couple years, sucked up just like that.
Mm-hmm. And Josiah, who's still, what is he, 20, 21? Like, he's one of those dudes that it's like, oh, dude.
I don't know if he's that young, but he's a guy who just broke through, and that's it. That's, it's the end of that.
Man, those guys from Spain, the guys from Spain, if they show even a modicum of something, they just get scooped up immediately. It's crazy.
Yeah, and if they're really going to roll out NXT Europe, then the bunch of other dominoes will fall. I've seen people asking about Luke Jacobs, and obviously someone they'd be interested in, and for Rev Pro, a lot of those great young teenagers and guys in the early 20s that have on their roster. I mean, obviously, once the right eyes get on those kids, that's going to be a wrap. They're going to sign up all those guys. So, it's nothing surprising. As soon as they decided to flip the switch on that, this is exactly how it was going to go down. So
kill the scene again. The scene finally shows a little bit of rebounding.
Trying to get back in its feet and forget it.
Fuck that. Not with WWE. Nope.
Take anybody worth a shit and, whatever.
Eat at Arby's. Willow Nightengale. Fightful Select reported earlier this month that Nightengale had agreed to a multi-year deal to stay with AEW. She apparently did that deal before she even reached, quote, free agent status. She then confirmed that report last week with the takedown on SI, saying that is true, yes. I'm happy where I am. I think there's much left ahead for me to do in AEW. So, Willow Nightengale.
It's good that he was able to retain her. I mean, she's obviously has great crowd connection, and there's it could be why he hasn't really put the pedal completely to the floor on a Willow push. It's not as if she's not pushed. She's going to be on one of the biggest matches on the pay-per-view Sunday. But now that you lock her up for another 2-3 years or whatever it is, it gives you more leeway for giving the hard push and put her at the top mix with Toni Storm and Monet now with no fear that she's just going to pull a Mariah May. And we all assume Mariah May, I saw her chirping though. She's like, oh, what? I can't take a vacation. Everybody knows my future, but you can't listen to these wrestlers. Who knows? And it's maybe Mariah May will show up at the pay-per-view, but it wouldn't make sense because you're gonna want to do Toni Storm Monet, right? So,
yeah, you kind of want Mariah to sit on the sidelines for a little bit here, but
I want her to just leave. Honestly,
yeah, you're fine if she wants to go. That's fine with you. But
yeah, I'm fine with if she goes. But not even from the standpoint of me trying to be funny. It's just it's time
works.
to go. You did your story, and it's time to go.
Right. If you desire even a little bit to go, and we told the story. Like I was talking about this as well, and I think it was a Flagship Plus or something like that. People aren't used to this. A lot of modern fans, people that just became fans recently, are not used to the idea that like somebody can just have an arc. They come into the company, you tell a story with them, their story's over, and you say, okay, we did everything we could with you. You can go, and you can leave amicably too. And hey, if there's ever opportunities to work together down the line, we'd love to work with you. But you know what? We've told the story with you. If you want to go elsewhere, go elsewhere. We'll be here down the line if you want to come back or whatever. We'll have that conversation when we have that conversation. You can do that. And that's a very healthy thing. And that's a healthy wrestling wrestling ecosystem to have that exist. And I think Mariah, it couldn't have worked out better. You brought her in, and you told a whole story with her. You had a perfect conclusion, and that conclusion put over somebody who's going to stick around with you, Toni Storm, who's also young. Like the idea that like, oh, you're losing Mariah and she's young. Tony's 29 years old. You know what I mean? Tony's still very, very young as well. And that whole story was to get Toni Storm to become a bigger star. And she is. So it kind of worked out perfectly, to be honest.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, and the thing is, you could always come back later and you'll be fresh. You know, you have your run there. And then when that, you know, if that, you see that through and you do whatever you do, wherever you're going.
Yeah.
You can come back down the line and then you feel fresh again. So, you know, this is why we always talk about movement isn't always like a negative. You know, it's sometimes it can be a positive for everybody involved.
Yeah, for sure. And one last, speaking of movement, company that has a lot of roster movement, MLW, Janai Kai on social media declared that she is a free agent and no longer with MLW. So,
well, that explains a lot.
Contra unit loses a fighter. How will they replace?
Well, it explains why she wasn't on the Arena Mexico show when she was originally announced for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if her popping up somewhere is imminent or what the deal is, but I guess we'll find out. I'm not sure she's ready for a spot in one of the bigger companies.
I don't think so.
But yeah, so
it's a good look, but yeah, the work's not quite there yet.
Yeah, you know, she just needs some more reps
for sure. So. And we'll see what's next for Janai Kai, but she is no longer with MLW. And they keep, like, people always go like, oh, what's going on in MLW? They keep a very lean roster. If you actually went through who is actually, like, you know, contracted MLW talent, it's very little.
Core roster.
Yeah, they have a nice core roster, and then they supplement it with the CML talent, or they'll supplement it with whatever talent. But yeah, lately it's been the CML talent, and, you know, they'll have their core roster of 10 people or whatever, and have them wrestle for a while, but then like one of those guys goes and then a new person comes in, and like Shotzi Blackheart is on her way in as Shotzi or whatever. So that's like, you know, usually when a person comes in, a person leaves. Like they don't really add much. They don't sign 5 new people and add them to the roster. It's like, all right, well we're done with this guy, we're done with this woman. Now we add this person and this person. Like it seems like they very, very much keep with a very tight core roster, like you said. So Shotzi comes in, someone goes out. That's kind of how it goes with MLW.
That'd be an upgrade for their standpoint. It's a swap out. If you're swapping out Janai Kai for Shotzi, you know, Shotzi's coming off TV, and she had an indie name before she signed and all that too. So, you know, that's a good get for them.
Yeah,
if she's going to be a regular.
Did you know that upcoming in the MLW? Now, did you watch Azteca Lucha or no?
Yeah.
Why? It was really bad, wasn't it?
Why? He buries me. He asks me if I watch it, and then he immediately buries me for watching it.
Why did you watch that show?
Because I'm a renegade.
You're a renegade, and you love your MLW fighters.
Yeah.
So I get it.
I mean,
right.
What kind of question is that?
So not a good show at all. Terrible live event experience. Not great. Spoiler. Well, I guess they announced it on Lucha Azteca, but I missed it because I didn't go to any of the pre-show stuff. I didn't go to the MLW taping. I missed an unadvertised War Chamber match between my guys, the Rogue Horsemen. So we'll have to watch it on TV. But you know what? It's good because I could watch it on TV then.
It's true.
I could watch it on YouTube. I can watch the Rogue Horsemen.
The comfort of Downers Grove, Illinois.
I don't live in Downers Grove anymore, but yes.
Don't dox yourself.
Yeah, that's
Just
true.
say you do. Yes, Downers Grove. That's right, Joe.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to
we
build
all know listen, we know you live in Gary, Indiana, but don't tell the listeners that.
Right. They're trying to build a Macho Man statue in my town. They're trying to get a petition together. But you know what? I wasn't involved in any of this at all. So I'm like, fuck this. I'm not in. You know what I mean? If you're not going to get me involved, you see what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna try to build a Macho Man statue in my town, wouldn't you want one of the preeminent names in pro wrestling analysts?
I agree.
Haven't gotten an email. Haven't gotten a call.
I'd be insulted too. Yeah, I would.
So you know what? Fuck that statue. I don't want it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's fair. It's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
In fact, you should sabotage it. You should get a hold of what you need to do is get a hold of your local wokes and let them know that Randy was a little handy with Miss Liz.
Yes. I'll say, you know why he was called Macho Man, by the way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then you could sabotage the project, you see.
Not a bad idea. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Chris Sampson, also a resident of Downers Grove. And thank you. He's in the chat room too. Talking 2 huge names in the wrestling industry.
Mm-hmm.
Both from Downers Grove. No calls. Just saying.
No calls. Not a single call.
Not a call with either of us. Just saying. How serious? How serious are these unserious people? Because I don't want this monument built by unserious people. Sounds like they're unserious. So
what do they know about the Macho Man?
I agree. I could talk about Memphis. You want to talk about that? They're like, shut the fuck up. You know, I'm like, actually, his best run was in Memphis. They're like, shut up. you know what I mean? That's why they didn't invite me. Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, well, really, I like his, the stuff, the territory stuff was actually a lot better than his Macho Man stuff. You know what I mean? What's the term I'm looking for? The with the territory. What's the term for the renegade territory or whatever? The
outlaw.
The outlaw. Yeah, like actually, stuff in the outlaw territories are much better.
You haven't seen his latest outlaw tapes that Alan Blackstock put out on Twitter, so you know nothing of the Macho Man.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's why they didn't invite me. I'm like, yeah, that ICW stuff. I'm telling you, man, that outlaw ICW stuff's fucking good. Yeah. That Lawler feud, you didn't watch the Lawler feud? You don't know what you're talking about then. You can't build this monument unless you've watched the Jerry Lawler, Randy Savage feud. Come on.
Yeah.
Am I telling any lies, though? That feud's great.
You haven't even seen Randy Savage versus the one-man gang from the Pop, and not that one-man gang, the one-man gang Ron Garvin, okay? The one-man gang Ron Garvin.
They're like, that, oh, yeah, Akeem, no.
Yeah. You sounded like Falaba right there. No. Remember Falaba?
I do remember Falaba, yeah. What's Falaba up to? Did he get canceled?
I don't know. I could probably find out for you. I know some people who know some people.
That's right. I forget. Yeah.
I'm curious. What happened to Falaba? It's a good question.
His most recent match was against the Headbangers. Mosh and Thrasher still at it. Good for them.
All right.
They defeated Dark Fala and Dark STG. Do you know who's Dark STG? Steve Gabicki? I don't know who this guy is. But
Falaba's still a regular for WrestlePro.
Yeah, still doing.
He's still at it. All right, there's nothing for me to find out then.
Good. It's
just he's back at WrestlePro. He wrapped it up with TNA. What was that? Probably 5 years ago or something.
That was several years ago, 2021 or something like that. Yeah.
And now he's back with WrestlePro. He does the Alaska tours and everything.
Oh, good for him. Always doing WrestlePro Alaska. Yeah, that's awesome. Good for
you.
Him.
Might have seen him when you were up there.
I don't think I'll have to check. Yeah, I don't think he was on that show. I don't remember him on that show. But
WrestlePro still chugging along with KM running the thing, right?
Yeah.
KM.
That's not big KM. I saw KM in Alaska. Did his match, then went to the table.
Yeah, I'm sure he
running
did.
the show. Yeah,
running the show.
He put the headphones down for a bit, or the headset, and said, "Hey, someone can handle this, right? I got to get out there and work." And then when he was done working, he went right to put the cans back on. He was back to work. So good for him.
Yeah.
Also, this just happened a couple of hours before we started recording here, but Ace Austin is out at TNA. He's departing.
Been there forever.
Been there for a very long time. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and we'll continue to bang this drum. The middle class of TNA, those people, probably not long for the world. Pretty much anybody that's in that middle tier of TNA, they're really just they don't need to exist anymore. They can just grab NXT talent. They can borrow NXT talent for a couple weeks, and they're good to go. So they can lean out their roster a lot, and whenever they need talent, they'll just say, "Hey, is there any? Can we borrow Miles Bourne for 2 weeks?" And then you can borrow Miles Bourne for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and you move on. So
so
we said it was going to happen, but people with goldfish brains, no, it'll be good for both companies, and all the wrestlers will be more exposure. Okay, all right. Well,
yeah, there are going to be downsides. Did you know Falaba got some AEW shots?
I saw that against Powerhouse Hobbs on like a dark
match. It was a dark match at Collision.
Dark match at Collision.
No one saw it when they were in New Jersey, but he did wrestle on Dark. Oh, but that was a dark match too. Oh, so okay.
Wait, he had a dark match?
Yeah, he had a dark match at Dark.
What?
Yes. Look at 2022. He had a dark match at AEW Dark.
How is that possible?
That might be worse than working ROH. Like you can't get any lower than that.
Dark match. I can't even find it.
Dark
match on AEW Dark against the Dark Order. That is wow.
He teamed with O'Shea Edwards and Sean Donovan. So he wrestled 2 AEW matches, neither of which made tape.
Rough.
Both in New Jersey. That's rough. But he got it. Look, they got to look. I'm disappointed in Tony. How do you not hire Falaba?
I would have hired Falaba. Yeah,
I would have hired Falaba.
You need more. You got to have some fatties. We got to have some big guys.
Fat guys. Got to have some fat guys.
Oh, man. Well, good for. I'm glad he's still working.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was still clanging and banging with WrestlePro on a regular basis because they run a lot too. They run a lot of shows.
Mm-hmm.
So
they still drawn well.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Tuned in.
I mean, definitely not peak. Okay, here's a show at Rahway Rec Center, 200.
All right,
You've been in that building. That's not a great crowd.
That's not great. That's not great for the Rahway Rec Center. No.
Yeah, WrestlePro at their peak was doing like 1,500.
Yeah. Okay. So they're not
every show.
Right. Their major shows were that, but okay.
And then they were doing 600-700. Yeah. So I mean, they're down from the PWS days, but they're still running and. They're running pretty frequently, so I would assume the shows aren't losing a lot of money. But I had no idea. I thought I would have guessed if Falaba had packed it in, but I guess not.
That's the day job. Maybe it's just a weekend warrior at this point, but good for him. Yeah. Anyway, so all right. I think that's all free agent news. That's all I got. If there's anybody else that has been reported in the hours since we've started the show, I don't think so. So we'll keep you updated on free agent news throughout the year. All right, let's wrap up here with Pro Wrestling Noah. So they had a big Korakuen Hall show on May 18th. They put 1562 in the building in Korakuen Hall for Noah Star Navigation. The main event of that show was obviously the match we'll start off with here. That's the only match that I saw on the show. Then I'll kind of lead you through the rest of the show. But OZAWA defeating Kaito Kiyomiya. So there was some speculation what's going to happen here. Some speculation about the match being for Kaito Kiyomiya would have to leave Noah if he lost. That was kind of refined to if OZAWA wins, Kaito Kiyomiya has to join Team 2000X. So I guess we're going to see if they go forward with that. But regardless, OZAWA defeated Kaito Kiyomiya, and I will say I thought this was a really good match. I liked Kaito Kiyomiya's fire at the beginning of this match, and I was like, oh, no. Oh, wait, we might have something with this guy. I thought there was a bit there where I saw it. I finally saw that Kaito Kiyomiya that we all kind of want to see, and the fans wanted to see, too, because the bell rang, and he was aggressive, and he was angry, and he was punching Ozawa and just trying to beat the fuck out of him, and the crowd got behind him a little bit. The crowd was into him for a little bit, but ultimately, Ozawa does defeat him. Kiyomiya hit a bunch of his Shining Wizard things, and he calls it something different. I forget what he calls it, but a bunch of Shining Wizards. Ozawa hit a Shining Wizard on him, and then did his little flippy-doo deal to get the win and retain the title. So Ozawa defeats Kaito Kiyomiya to retain the GHC title. We'll talk about the challenge that happened afterwards in a sec, but what do you think of the match itself?
I thought that they were on their way to a truly great match. And then once Ozawa stopped the referee's hand from counting three on the 3 count instead of kicking out, it devolved into a Vince Russo style match.
Because then you got a ref bump after that too. Yeah, that's.
And then you had all kinds of wacky shenanigans. And it's like, I understand Ozawa has to cheat to win if he's going to win. You could do one big spot though and have him win that way. But once you start, I hate that spot where the referee is about to count 3 and then you go up and grab the hand so he can't count the 3. That's such a shitty American style spot.
Just kick out.
Just kick out. I hate it almost as much as when they yank the ref out of the ring before he counts to 3. I really wish there was some promotion that existed somewhere where shit like that was like they established that shit like that is a DQ. I don't accept that like pro wrestling taken more seriously cannot work and draw money. I just don't accept that. And I'm not saying every promotion should be that way, but I think that what we're seeing in Japan right now is all Japan has all this dopey comedy, and Noah is what it is. It's a Western style promotion with Team 2000X. And I just don't have any interest in it. I mean, once the match devolved into just a series of Western style shenanigan spots, they just completely lost me. And I agree with you. I thought this was one of Kiyomiya's most interesting matches I've seen in a long time. Up until that point, he had real fire, and they sold out Korakuen Hall again. There was over 1,500 in the building, almost 1,600. But and it's working, and they're going to keep leaning into it as long as it's drawing. I understand that, but doesn't mean it's for me, and it isn't for me. And I'll watch because Noah's hot, and we have to keep watching. But I'm just really tired of this. It's it took all the air out of my balloon once they did that spot and then what the match became after that. So Ozawa retains, and I don't know. Those are my thoughts on the match.
Yeah. I definitely get that. Like, I think I liked it a little bit more than you did. That didn't fully take me out of the match as much as it took you out of the match. But I do admit, when the ref was down for like 5 minutes and we're doing nut shots and Yoshitatsu's running in, and I'm just like, okay, all right. That's, I think I'm ready to
I'm just over it.
I'm ready to go back to the beginning of the match where they were just fighting for the title.
Yeah.
I'd like that again. But.
And I get that like Ozawa's not just going to beat him clean. You're not going to do that.
Right.
But one big spot to me is more effective than just having it break down like a House of Torture match. I get enough of that in New Japan with House of Torture and War Dogs, and I hate it there too. I don't know. I just think Puro is in a really, really shitty place across the board. And here's the thing. I really liked the rest of this show, though. I will say that.
Okay.
And I know you didn't watch the rest of the show.
I did not. Yeah, I did not. So real quickly, and then we'll go over the rest of the show here real quick. After the match, Ozawa gets the win. We'll see if Kiyomiya joins Team 2000X or if that was just bluffing. I don't know if that was an official stipulation or whatever. After the match, Tetsuya Endo comes down. And as we predicted, Tetsuya Endo would be leaving Team 2000X pretty soon. I mean, he just barely joined them, but he's already like out. So he comes down. And he's going to challenge Ozawa for the title, but then your boy Takashi Sugiura comes down and says, well, I want a chance at the title. So then they decide, well, we'll just do a three-way. So we're going to do a three-way match with Ozawa.
It's just this. I'm telling you,
Endo.
I
was like, oh, what?
This is essentially NXT Japan at this point.
Yeah.
It's a Western-style promotion all the way. And they had the veterans beat the Team 2000X guys earlier in the show. It was Masa Kitamiya, Marufuji, and Sugiura over Daga, Owada-san, and Tetsuya Endo. And, they cut all their promos afterwards and everything. So we kind of nailed both guys, Sugiura and Endo, but we thought it'd be one or the other.
Right. Instead, they did both.
Right. So as far as the rest of the show, though, I got, I thought Yohei and Terasuke had a hell of a match. And that I was arms crossed and not wanting to like it. That with who was in it. But they won me over, and I really thought, and Yohei retained, and that was a hell of a match. And he called out his next challenger. It's going to be Junta Miyawaki, who will be next up for Yohei. I think Yohei will get through that one too. I think they're going to give him a substantial junior title run since he's never held that title before, and that's kind of a big deal story that came out of him winning it. Alpha Wolf and Dragonbane, you will be shocked to hear that they, pretty much have one of the best matches on the show.
Did a bunch of cool shit. I mean, it rocked.
Yeah. They beat Hayata and Yuto Kikuchi in a, they didn't give them 20 minutes, but the time that they had was completely maximized. And they're just you can't take your eyes off of Alpha Wolf and Dragonbane when they're in a match. They're just so good, and they're so charismatic, and you never know when some wild shit is coming. So they won that. And I also really enjoyed the Kenta Kano and Oka Sasaki over Daiki Inaba, Manabu Soya, and Saxon Huxley. I thought Daiki Inaba looked great. My God. I thought, man, if they give him a win over one of these three guys, I had a feeling, obviously, that they were going to lose, but I was like, he looks so good in this match that if he's able to beat one, like if he beats Sasaki here or something, they might have something. He looks so good. And it's just, there's something about Daiki Inaba. We always say this, like there's something there, but they never like do anything with him. It's the weirdest thing. Like he has a good look and his work is solid. The crowd too was understood, because they were chanting his name during this match, even at one point. He looked really good. And he ended up being the one to take the pin, too. So it was Kano who beat him. But and then I thought, maybe, because I'm thinking as I'm watching the show, who's going to challenge Ozawa? So you pay attention to who's scoring the falls. Yeah. Right? So I'm like, maybe it'll be Kano next. But no, it went with the other two guys. What else was on this show? Let me circle to the top and go quickly through. So they opened up with Muhammad Yone and Shuhei Taniguchi versus Daiki Odashima, my boy Odashima, and Suji Kondo. And there was Muhammad Yone using the, whatever he calls the muscle buster, Kaniku buster or whatever. I'm pretty sure he invented the fucking move, as a matter of fact. I have to fact check that. But he's been using it for like 25 years. But he won it with that. But there was a great spot in the match where Odashima was getting his ass kicked by the two veterans. and Shuji Kondo got fed up because he couldn't get to the corner to make the tag. And he hopped in the ring and started stomping on his own guy. He's like, come on, motherfucker.
Yeah,
like, let's go. Like, not to beat him up, but like to motivate him. Like, he starts stomping him. He starts stomping a mud hole in him. And he goes back to the corner and then reaches the hand out all emphatically, you know. Like,
that's very Shuji Kondo. I love it.
It's such a good spot. Like, he's completely washed up. Don't get me wrong. Like, he used to be one of my favorite guys, but he's completely washed. He wrestled the All Japan show too. But that was a really fun spot, and it got the crowd into the silly little opener too. Atsushi Kotoge and Hajime Ohara defeat Alejandro and Kai Fujimura. Kotoge looks fucking haggard. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's all the headbutts over the years. He's like missing teeth now too. There's something going on with that guy, and I know he's like no spring chicken. He's got to be pushing 40 at this point.
He's 39. I just looked it up. He's 39.
Yeah, and he does those shoot headbutts, and he's been doing them for years. And
that'll catch up to you. Yeah, eventually that'll catch up to you. So
yeah, and he's just looking real haggard. I don't know how else to.
He kind of looks like a scummer. He looks like a deathmatch scummer. Yeah, he looks like a deathmatch indie scummer at this point.
For sure, that's the best way to put it. He's starting to look like an indie scummer, and he's starting to work like one too. But they won the match. There was a really bad Alejandro bump on a springboard early, and other than that, the match was fine. And then after the match, and I shit you not, I swear I'm not making this up. I watched the English broadcast, and not the mouse in the pocket guy, but the other guy, I guess. He was like, they put a graphic up on the screen, and he was like, coming up on the next show, it's Atsushi Kotoge versus Super Delphin. I'm like, Super Delphin?
Whoa, all right.
What? Like, that's Super Delphin? I had to check to see if he was alive. I'm like, what? So apparently he is alive and he's still out there.
Yeah, he still works.
Working.
Yeah, he still works with Osaka Pro shows. I see him all the time on those Osaka Pro shows. But they're doing a singles match with him?
Sir, he's coming to Noah, and he's wrestling.
He does like mostly tags because he is in his. I think he's 60 or he's approaching 60 years old. Wow. So
you better get ready for some shoot headbutts because he's wrestling Kotoge.
Interesting. Okay.
So I don't know when they're doing it. The graphic was on the screen, though. I know I didn't imagine it. So Pickering was out, or the other guy, whichever one, was out there screaming and yelling about it. So
yeah, he hasn't had a singles match since June of last year. Was his last singles match. So
yeah. So there you go. That's every match. That's the Noah
Super
show.
Delphin. What?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Where's the show at? Is it?
I don't know. It just said that they're wrestling, and the graphic was up, and I didn't really. If it said where, I didn't catch it. But
because I imagine Delphin's not like making his way to Tokyo, right? He's probably. This show's got to be up in. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's up.
Just maybe some fucking Monday Magic show or something.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know.
Well,
but
I'm in. Sounds awesome. I'm in.
They even do the Monday Magic shows anymore?
I think they still do. Yeah, I think they still do. I haven't checked in on them for a while. You were big on the Monday Magic shows for a while.
Maybe Limit Break. I don't know.
Oh no, you were a Limit Break guy, right? Not Monday Magic. You were a Limit Break guy. Yeah,
I was a Limit Break guy.
Because that was Shiozaki. That was Shiozaki's thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Monday Magic is dopey fucking.
Right. That shit sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they do Monday Magic anymore. Yeah. I don't even know if they do Limit Break I think they still do Limit Break. Let me see. They do. The last Limit Break was in March. And the last Monday Magic was 2024. So
that's fine.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we're okay. I'm okay with that. But I'd rather I like the Limit Break to come back. But alas, I guess Go doesn't have the title anymore. So the 0-1 title anymore. So who cares?
Wait, what happened there?
I guess he still has it, right? Or no. He didn't he lose that title?
I mean, if he did, I didn't watch it and I'm not aware of it. I don't think he lost it.
Oh no, he's still a 0-1 champion. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they've done anything with it in a while, but
oh, that's right, because he hasn't defended 0-1 apparently doesn't need their title. Like, you can keep it.
No, see, his last defense was that Junya Matsunaga match.
That's right, yeah.
Which
yeah.
I reviewed that.
Yeah.
And he hasn't defended it since. So
Huh.
I don't know what's going on with that. That's a good question because they don't really do Limit Break shows either.
Yeah, 0-1 doesn't need their
Is 0-1 or real 0-1 or any of those even active right now? What's happening with 0-1 branding?
So 0-1, the what I believe is the current iteration of the big time 0-1, they're running.
Okay.
Hayabusa just wrestled for them. The new Hayabusa just wrestled with them.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I forgot. Oh, Calvin Tankman's doing a run with them right now. I wish I could watch these. I love the idea of Calvin Tankman hanging out in 0-1 for a while, but
they still have 2 0-1s or no?
Great question. I don't remember. Because then there was like, no, we're not doing it anymore. We're now only one. I think they're one now. I think they're back together as just one. Don't quote me on that though. I believe real 0-1 is no more, and now it's just, I don't know. Who can make sense of 0-1 anymore? I try to subscribe to, because there was Tochigi. So I guess the current 0-1 is a derivative of Tochigi.
Yes.
Which was a derivative of the actual 0-1.
Right.
But I think Real is done now, and I think they've combined now into this new 0-1.
They went back into, they combined again?
Yeah.
But Noah just commandeered their title.
It just keeps it. It just has it.
Well, that's what happens sometimes in Japan. Like,
because so 0-1 had their 24th anniversary show on March 30th and did not have a title match on that show. Because their champion is in another company. So they did, however, have Chris Weiss versus Shane Mercer in a double KO match. So that okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But things are looking pretty rough. Pretty rough for 0-1. Not that they've been looking good at any point in the last.
When has it not looked
the
rough?
last 8 years haven't looked great for them, but looking very rough in 2025.
Well, when Go gets back in there, I expect him to defend that title with honor against all comers.
Yeah, I'll just say
Tochigi or otherwise.
When 0-1 came back, their first match with the combined new 0-1 was called 0-1 Keep On Running 2025. Joe Shinkiba first ring, 186 people.
Not great.
More people listen to the show live tonight than we're at
they're bringing in
0-1 Keep On Running 2025.
Yeah, but they're bringing in foreigners.
I know. I don't know.
How are they pulling that off? Why am I even asking that? Yeah.
They got Sadie Gibbs is on this show. Kid Bandit is on this show.
So this is a money wash like it always has been.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, when did it ever stop?
So, okay. So do you think when they changed the logo? Oh, I do remember this now. Didn't we talk about this?
Right. Well, they had like a streaming. They came out with a new like fan streaming service, and I tried to sign up to, and it wouldn't let me. And then it was like, but it's also like $35 a month or whatever. So I was like, I don't really care that much to watch it. But yeah, they did a big press release.
Who the fuck would pay $35 a month?
It was so much. But yeah, they did a big press release about how we're all back together. We're one happy family. And
right. I forgot.
Yeah,
you're right. And they changed their logo and everything.
Yeah, because it's like blue now. It's like a blue logo, and it's updated.
So Tochigi's gone, and Real 0-1 is gone. They're back into. And I assume the whole roster is back together and everything too. So okay.
Yeah. Well, what's left of the roster, which is pretty. It's rough.
Chris Weiss and the boys.
Chris Weiss is still there. Yeah, Chris Weiss is still
on. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to dig into the YouTube and catch back up on some of this stuff.
Yeah, see what's out there.
Because once Go stopped working at the end of the year, my attention got diverted from 0-1. We were locked in for a while with the 0-1 on this show.
Yeah, of course. Someone's got it. Who else is?
Yeah, covering the split and the turmoil and trying to make the most sense of it we could. I mean, it's hard with the translations and it was sketchy even if you understood Japanese. But then they came back together. But the problem is Go hasn't been working, so it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But I had no idea that they were bringing in like Calvin Tankman and Shane Mercer and all these foreigners. That's interesting. So what's the big? They're running like Shinkiba and shit like that. Like what are they running?
Let's see. Their most recent show was at some stadium in Kawasaki, but this was part of the
stadium. Yeah, sure.
Nippon Cultural So there was zero. Get a load of this one. This is on March 7th. 0-1 Nippon Cultural Broadcasting Pro Wrestling presents Kawasaki Legend 2025. Main event was a plasma explosion death match. And that had the semi-main was Hayabusa and Jinsei Shinsaki versus Mammoth Sasaki and Masato Tanaka. And then, hold on a minute. I got to watch this show. Look at it. Listen to this
shows
match.
Don't look that bad.
Listen. Did you see this 6-man tag on this show? Calvin Takeman. This is my kind of wrestling, man. You were looking for guys? Here's your guys. Calvin Takeman, Chris Weiss, and Shane Mercer defeat Daisuke Sakamoto, Junta Matsunaga, and Tsuji Ishikawa. Now, Ishikawa's, we know, but that's some beef. There's some girth in that match. I like that.
Yeah, I gotta see what's free. I'm gonna throw some of this
pop onto the 01 YouTube channel and see what you can find.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not real enthused by a lot of anything else going on in Japan. I may as well dip my toe in.
01's going to save you. I don't know. Oof.
I mean, I'm looking through these cards and some of them but I have no idea what's on tape and what's not.
Yeah, I have no clue either. I don't even know if they have an official YouTube account that they're uploading this stuff to. Because like I said, they have this like fucking streaming service thing, and I tried to sign up, and it was one of those things that everybody says, "Oh, it's easy," and then it wasn't easy at all.
Of course, yeah, it's never easy.
It didn't take my card, and then I Chase Bank sends me anytime I like that happened with Nico all the time too.
Yeah,
my bank would block it, rightfully so. They're like, "What do you do? You're spending $35 on the someone stole your card. They're trying to spend $35 for the 01 official fan club out of Japan." So we stopped the transaction, and I'm like, yeah, oh yeah. You know,
yeah.
Not gonna say it's me. No, that was me trying to get 01 base Neo. That was me.
You're too embarrassed to say
right.
No. Please,
I'm like,
please
yes,
accept
give me a new
charge.
card. I think I'm gonna need a new card. No, I always because getting a new card is the worst. Even if I think it's a fraud, I'm like, please.
Yeah, I got sick of that shit too. I finally just told my bank, I'm like, just accept anything from Japan. Just assume it's me.
Yeah.
And I'll sort it out later if it's something sketchy.
If it's Russian, maybe let me know. But yeah, anything from
Japanese,
Japan, it's me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. The other thing too is if you do it through PayPal, you run into less of that shit. Like just run it through PayPal, which is going to be connected to your debit card anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the other way to do it, where you could just get around all that.
Yeah, but there was a certain point where I was like, do I need to be spending $34 on 01 Neo fan?
No, you don't, because you just log into All Mine anyway. So there's no reason. You're right. There is no
I was
point.
trying to help you out by getting you the 01 thing, but it didn't work.
Oh, get out of here. You're so full of shit. Every day this week I've been getting emails from my All Japan thing. Oh, you have a login from Chicago, fucking Illinois.
I hope you find the guy. Yeah. I'm in Downers Grove, so I don't know what you're talking about there. So.
Yeah. Oh, a new login. I'm like, this motherfucker. Like you're gonna pay $35 for 01 to balance it out. Get out
I do remember now. Actually, the issue was not my card; it was the fact that they wanted me to write my name in like kanji or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't. So I put it in a translator, and they're like, "This is not proper." And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, come on, I'm not. Give me a break. I'm not JoJo Remy. Come on.
I don't know how to spell my name. Yeah, I put it in Google Translate. That should be enough. But it kept saying it was incorrect characters or whatever. And I'm like, all right, fine.
And then it's too much work now. Now it's just feels
I'm
like
working
work
very hard for 01 Neo Genesis or whatever the fuck this thing is called. So
yeah, I don't like to work hard for anything. So once you make me take extra steps, forget it. Not a fucking chance.
But hopefully some of these are on YouTube. Someone in the chat room said that a couple of these Calvin Tankman 01 matches are on YouTube. So
all right, well I'm gonna look. I'm gonna try to track that shit down.
Hopefully 01 can revitalize your love of Japanese pro wrestling. So all right. We'll see. But I think that's it for here on the flagship. So, again, we will be back on Sunday night for AEW Double or Nothing 2025 Instant Reaction Live $10 tier. Make sure you get on that $10 tier beforehand so you make sure you do not miss a second of that show. But, yeah, we'll be going live a couple minutes or so. We do about 5 or so minutes after the show, 5-10 minutes usually after the show. We will be going live. So, AEW Double or Nothing 2025 on a Sunday. We can go late, too, because we got a little, as the Brits like to say, a bank holiday on Monday, Joe. We had a Memorial Day bank holiday, so we can take off and we can go longer than usual, which is, we probably don't need to go that much longer than usual. We usually go to like 2 a.m. anyway. So, anyway, yeah, that'll be Sunday, AEW Double or Nothing, Instant Reaction Live, $10 tier for that. But that's it for us. So that is Joe. I am Rich. We'll talk to you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I want to tell you all about my show, the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we do a thorough analysis on the biggest issues and trends within the pro wrestling industry. We talk a lot about pro wrestling media, we talk a lot about fan culture and wrestling's place within general pop culture, and we talk about the broader influences that are shaping the way we discuss and analyze the pro wrestling industry. We've had some of the brightest minds in the pro wrestling intelligentsia on the show, including WrestleNomics host Brandon Thurston, both Rich Craich and Joe Lanza from the Flagship Wrestling Podcast, Trevor Dame from the Through the Years podcast, and a whole lot more. This isn't a show for hot takes. It's not a show recapping the latest episode of television. This is a show focusing on the biggest topics in pro wrestling and doing a deep dive on the real stories behind the surface level analysis you might find elsewhere. The Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a try. Thanks.